Welcome to Crafty Beach. This is Julie. Today I've put together 50 of my Christmas Dollar Tree and Dollar Spot DIYs and finds from this year in 2025. I hope you enjoy. Let's take some Dollar Tree foam board and make a giant gingerbread man cookie. I thought this would be a really economical way to make a really large gingerbread man. So what I did was I designed these printables. I will include a link to these in the description below. You have to print them out on 6 pages to be able to get all the pieces, but I thought there's no way I'm going to be able to cut out a gingerbread man out of this foam board without some kind of a template. So I have the head and shoulders. I just went ahead and taped that down and then lining up the body. And I tried to get this on as few sheets as possible. So I tried to make everything fit here on just the foam board from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to line up the arms. You do have to kind of line them up exactly how they are since there is a little bit of spacing here between the different pages to make the arm width right to go with the rest of the arm. And that also has like part of the leg on it over there. So just lining everything up. And we're just going to tape all of these down with a little bit of painter's tape and then go in and cut out this giant gingerbread man. He turned out so cute. I really hope you enjoy him. It's just a matter of lining everything up here. I tried to not place tape anywhere where I'm actually going to be cutting because I thought that might get in the way. And I just have a few more pieces here. I do need to line up both of the feet and then we are ready to go. I tried to use as much of the foam board as I possibly could and keeping with my design here. And I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to make a boy, but I think it'd be pretty easy to customize it. If you wanted to do a girl one too, you could just do a skirt on her. So I just trimmed off some of the excess paper just because it was in my way, and we can start cutting this out. I'm going to use my heated knife that I got on Amazon. I do have this linked in my Amazon shop. This is great for crafting, but you could always just use a regular razor blade. But I know that heating it up does make it slide through the foam a little bit easier. And I was pretty impressed that I was able to cut out a cool design with it. So just trying to take my time. And I'm kind of aiming for the outside of the black and trying to keep that great shape without doing any excess cuts. I did check to make sure it was going all the way through. And I'm just doing this straight on my wood workbench so that I don't destroy my mat or anything like that with the razor or the heat. So I just kind of cut out half here at a time that was a little bit closer to me. Makes it a little bit easier. And then I'm going to flip it around and cut out the rest. Now I want to paint this and decorate it and make it look really festive for Christmas. I'm going to do it as a leaning sign with a foam board, and it's not super strong, but I think it worked out pretty well. So I think it was definitely a good bargain for $1.25 for this material. I do add more material to it, of course, but I was pretty impressed for what this was. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it over and make sure it cut through everywhere. There were a few places where I started and stopped and probably didn't get through the whole thing. So I just kind of check that before I try to pop it out. I don't want to tear any paper if I don't have to. Now it came out pretty clean. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but we can touch it up a little bit and make it really good. I really tried to avoid like any nicks or anything that wasn't going to be forgiven, but any of the areas that don't look like super rounded like they should, I just went back in with my heat knife and I cut those as well. Now, I haven't tried this with just a razor blade, but I would think it would be pretty similar. The heat definitely helps a little bit. You do have to be careful though, because you don't want it to melt it too much and you definitely don't want to burn yourself. Now, once I trimmed it up, then I went in with a sanding sponge, just a fine grit sanding sponge, and I went around all of the edges. And this really helped to smooth things out, make sure there was no loose paper on either side of the cut, and just rounded everything out a little bit better. So definitely an important step is to sand it. And then I did have a tiny nick right here that I did fill in with a little bit of spackle that I can also sand just to keep everything smooth. I want the front and the back of this to look really good. I want it to look just like a giant gingerbread man cookie. So the sanding definitely helped. And then once we get that all sanded, we can paint it. I'm using the Nutmeg Brown by Apple Barrel, which is a really fun color for gingerbread men. And I'm going to use one of the Dollar Tree paint rollers because it's such a large surface. I thought we could get a fun sponge design on this too, which would make it look a little bit more like gingerbread. So let's go ahead and start painting this. I did have some issues with this part, so you will see what I did to fix that. I just went over everything, trying to keep it, relatively even and spongy looking because I think that looks really good for like the texture of what a gingerbread man would look like. And again, I just went over all of it, just trying to smooth out anywhere where you could see like my roller lines in there. It's not the best roller, but for $1.25, it's not bad. Now for the edges, I want to paint them to the edges of the cookie because it is this thick foam board. And I just went in with a little sponge brush and I painted all the way around so that would all be brown too. I don't want any white showing in the final project. So I just used a rather small stencil dauber to be able to get in some of the nooks and crannies there. And we're going to flip it over and paint the back too. I definitely wanted the back to look like a cookie as well, since this is going to be a leaning sign, and just to make it look more complete. So I just went over the back of it with a layer of paint too. So I flipped it over and touched it up. There were a few areas that weren't completely dry when I flipped this over, but I noticed that there was a lot of bubbling on the paper. And then I remembered that, there's just like a thin sheet of paper on top of the foam board, and it might look better if I actually pulled that off. So what I did was I went ahead and peeled it at this point. Now this just revealed like the straight foam underneath of it. And this painted so much better and it looks so much better. It also keeps it from, warping when you have more paint on one side than the other. And this is the way I should have done it. So definitely remove your paper first before you start painting it. As you can see, it even painted better. It really gave me that fun gingerbread texture. And so I went ahead and did that on the front and the back just to avoid the paper wrinkling. I completely forgot that that paper was on there, and the foam definitely painted a lot better than the paper for sure. So that is what it looks like. We let it dry. The back kind of looks like it's actually a baked cookie, so that looks pretty cool. Now for the frosting for the gingerbread man, we're going to use some of this rickrack. I got this one at Michael's. You can kind of use whatever you have, but I think this works so good for gingerbread men. I really love it. I'm going to use some tacky glue instead of heat for this. I think it's just going to work better on that foam. So I just added some Dollar Tree tacky glue here to the back of the rickrack and lined that up for the frosting on the arm of the gingerbread man. We're also going to do the traditional like squiggly frosting here down on the ankles of the gingerbread man too. So I was just cutting those down to size, adding the tacky glue to the back, and then gluing that onto the foam, and just kind of cleaning up if I have any of that tacky glue coming out, just with a baby wipe, just to clean things up a little bit. So we have one more arm that needs the rickrack, and we're also going to add this to the face. We're going to do like a traditional gingerbread man face with the icing going all the way around like in a circle. So we have all the arms and legs done, and this bends really well too. So I shouldn't have any problem making it take the shape of a circle. And again, just using tacky glue for this too. And I just lined that up right there to like the chin, and I'm just going to go around the head, just kind of working one section at a time and lining that out. I think that made him look so cute. I do plan to do a bow tie for him, so I don't need to make the complete circle. And he was so much fun to decorate for sure. Now for the eyes, I'm going to use some Dollar Tree buttons. I found two that were the same size. They're like a brown and they have like a grain in them. So I'm going to paint mine black, and I'm also going to fill up the buttonholes with a little bit of spackle just to make them more of a solid surface. I dried that and went over them with some black paint so we could have some little black like frosting eyes here for our little gingerbread man. You could really get away with black or white, just whatever you wanted. I had a lot of white already with the rickrack, so I definitely decided that the eyes should be black, and we're going to make the little smile black too. This is some of the Dollar Tree black macrame cord. You could also probably use yarn for this too, just whatever you have. And if you only have red, I think that would work well too. I'm going to use tacky glue on that, and I really wet it a lot so that I could use that to glue that down into the shape of a smile. Again, using a baby wipe to try to clean up some of the excess glue and make sure the ends of the macrame cord were sealed so they didn't fray or anything like that. Then we can just attach our eyes. I hot glued mine on just to make that super strong. For the buttons, I'm going to use a print and cut of a peppermint. If you would like this, I do have this linked in the description. You can fit 20 on a page if you do 1.5 inches, which is what these wood discs are. I have 2 of these wood discs left over from another DIY. I got these at Michael's, and I'm going to simply Mod Podge little peppermints on top and then Mod Podge that to seal it. Super easy. We're not going to make it glossy or anything. I just wanted 2 little candy buttons there for his chest. Now for his bow tie, I DIY'd one out of one of these little Santa scarves from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to cut it about the width that a bow tie would be for this little guy. And it is doubled up because that is the scarf material. So I'm actually going to use some of the fabric from the back I really don't need here to make the center section of the bow tie. And I just kind of pinched it together, gathered it into like a bow tie shape. We can wrap that around. I thought it was a little too thick, so I'm going to thin this down a little bit. And same thing, just pinch everything, wrap this around, hot glue this to the back like that so everything stays together right there in the center, and slightly overlap that material there in the back. Again, with hot glue, no sew for sure. And just kind of make sure both sides of my bow tie are even. Now we can attach that right here. I thought that'd be really festive, a little bow tie for a gingerbread man. Very traditional. And I glued that right on. I really love red and white for Christmas and especially for gingerbread decor. For the buttons, I just hot glued those onto the front of our little gingerbread man and tacked our bow tie here to him too. I want him to hold a candy cane, and I found these great little felt candy cane ornaments at Target Dollar Spot for only $1. So I'm just going to cut the ornament hanger off of it and glue that onto his hand. They're not very heavy, so I think he will be plenty strong enough to hold that up. Then I decided I wanted to make him some clothes. Since this is a little Florida gingerbread man, I'm going to make mine have some shorts. But you could leave your little gingerbread man without any clothes, but I was kind of inspired by the bow tie to make him some shorts. So I'm going to take a Dollar Tree Santa hat and cut off the white fluff here, leaving me with the red fabric. And I'm just going to try to open this up, trying to leave at least one of the seams intact. So I just cut the thread here on one side and cut off the little pom-pom at the end. And now I have a set of fabric here that's already sewed together that we can DIY the shorts from. So I need a waistband. So at the skinnier end, I just cut a waistband there for our shorts. And we're going to make these 2 size for our gingerbread man. So I line it up right there where his waist would be and also hot glue that down to the gingerbread man. I'm not going to wrap the clothes around him. I just want the clothes to be on the front of him. And then I just used his leg here as a stencil to be able to cut that down. So I cut it on the outside and the inside here for his pants, and definitely short pants for here in Florida. So I cut them right about there. And I'm going to do the same thing here on the other side, just carefully using that leg for reference and making them fit kind of snug. I'm going to do that here on the outside and then cut the pant leg on this one into some shorts too, and make sure that my shorts are the same length. Then I'm going to hot glue it down all over all the edges. And I also want to give a little bit of Santa Claus fluff to this too. I found this great white fur at Temu, and I love how thin it is. It's perfect for a project like this. I will try to link this in the description if you would like this exact one. Temu, it's a little variable if they'll have it in stock, but I will definitely try to link it. And then I am going to glue down a piece here for the cuff of the shorts too. And I think these look so festive and cute. I'm really glad I decided to give him some shorts. It really added a lot of personality to him. Now, the bow was pretty close to matching, but it wasn't the same exact fabric, so I decided to switch out the bow tie with my scrap material from that Santa hat so it would match perfectly. So I took a little rectangle piece and I also cut a thin strip, and we're just going to make another bow tie very similar to that we did before, maybe a little bit less fabric. And I just pinched that together and hot glued the strap around. That way my color of red was exactly the same. And just because they're on the same project, I thought it would look better if they matched perfectly. So I just hot glued it where my bow tie was before. And here he is, our giant gingerbread man. He's a great leaner. Definitely remember to take the paper off before you paint him, because look at that wonderful texture I got by doing that, and no bubbling or anything like that. His little Santa shorts are so fun. I love them. And he still has so much other personality of a classic gingerbread man. If you're enjoying today's video, be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. We're almost to 50K subscribers, and don't forget to hype today's video. For this DIY, we're going to use the play balls from the Dollar Tree. They have these great ones for Christmas and Christmas colors. They were actually in the toy aisle at the Dollar Tree. I just found them at. I picked up 2 red and 1 white, and then I picked up some of these little party cups from the party section for the top, and we're going to make some giant Christmas ornaments to go outdoors. These would look great hanging in trees. I don't have anything besides palm trees, so I'm going to use them to actually decorate the bushes in the front of my house, and they turned out so cute that I'm going to have to make more for sure. I love them. So the red and white balls are already the colors that I want them to be. They also had blue, but I thought the red and white would be great. I'm going to use my little hot knife without the blade on there. I got this on Amazon. Check my Amazon shop below for a link to this. They are great. Sometimes this one's sold out, but I think any of the ones that have the hot knife attachment on there will work. They're all about the same size. There's a couple different varieties. And I'm just going to use that to punch holes in both sides of the party cups so that I can string hangers on these for the actual tops of the ornaments. I think the shape on these are perfect. They're made out of a thin plastic material. We're going to paint them to make them look festive. I'm going to use this gold metallic spray paint by Rust-Oleum to spray all of those. You really only have to spray the top, so I'm going to go ahead and lay them all in here and spray them. And then we're going to attach them to the top of the play balls for giant Christmas ornaments. It worked out perfectly, and it was so easy to make. So I just sprayed painted them all with the gold. You could use really kind of, I think, any kind of metallic. You could also do like the silver, the chrome, whatever style you're going for. And again, just setting these aside to dry. All it took was one thin coat to cover that clear plastic. Now, the sticker on these is like part of the ball, so you can't remove it. So we're just going to have to try to work around it. For the hangers, I'm going to use some of this mesh tube from the Dollar Tree. I have some of this left over from fall, so it's gold, so it works perfect. You could also use rope or whatever you can find. I thought this might be a little bit more durable to hold up outside. So I just cut a piece of that and I tied that here on the inside, just double knotting that to make a little hanger like that so I can hang the ornament. And I want to make sure I make it long enough to be able to go over the greenery that we're going to be hanging that on. And then I'm going to do the same thing here for the other two. I'm definitely going to have to find some more of these play balls so I can make more of these. They look so festive in my landscaping. I absolutely love how these turned out, and I can't believe how easy they were to put together. Other options, if you don't have any rope or this, I think you could probably use like some twine material too. Just try to use something strong. Sometimes when I use just the jute twine from the Dollar Tree, it's not strong enough to hold up very long outdoors. It like seems to degrade a little bit. And again, I'm just trying to make sure that all of my hangers are about the same length. They don't have to be perfect, but I just cut the pieces down to size, tied those inside, and then kind of measured to see if they were like similar to the other ones. Now it's time to put it together. I want to cover up the little inflatable hole, and I want to cover up the tag. So I'm going to go ahead and shine the rest of it with a little adhesive remover, like some of the Goo Gone stuff from Dollar Tree, the glue away, to make them shiny like Christmas ornaments. I'm going to use those little party cups to stand this ball up to make that easier to work with. And look, the party cups are the perfect size. They cover the tag, the barcode, and the little inflatable part there perfectly. I'm going to use a really strong glue for this. I'm using the Gorilla Glue Clear Grip because I wanted something really strong because hot glue and the rubber ball are definitely not going to work. So you're definitely going to have to set these aside, let them cure a little bit so that your glue sets up. I haven't had any problems with these out in my landscaping. They seem to be holding up just fine. Now, again, I'm just shining them to make them look shiny like a Christmas ornament with that Goo Gone material. But I try not to add it to the top where I'm going to be gluing this on because I don't want it to be like super oily at the top. And again, the Gorilla Glue Clear Grip here along the edges, I tried to make sure that I put it all the way around. It's easy enough to clean up with a baby wipe if you get a little bit too much and you notice it coming out of the sides. And again, the party cup here on the bottom to stand them up on definitely helps them from rolling all around. They're a little dusty and dirty from being in the store as well, and so that helps clean them up too. This is our third and final one, gluing the top on. And again, I did set these aside and let them dry. I want to make sure that glue sets up really well. Aren't these so cute? I love how these turned out. Let me show you what they look like in my landscaping out front. I really like that deco mesh for a hanger because it kind of looks like a rope, but it's also that gold metallic that matches the top of the ornaments. Here is one of the red ones. Hey, you can see my palm tree reflection. The bushes in front of my house is where I decorated these. I kind of did the area around my entryway, but I would really like to line the entire front of my house with these in the shrubs that are out there. I think that would be so cute. This is the white one. And I'll also show you what they all look like together. They're the perfect scale. It's something that you can see from the road, and I think they look so festive. Now, I don't have any Christmas lights on these bushes. I'm going to do all of my Christmas lights on the other side of my landscaping. So this definitely adds a pop of Christmas to this side of my house. I want to take some of the long board signs from the Dollar Tree. I found 3 of them that were white, and I found 2 of the chunky wood signs for the sides that are also white. So that's great. So I won't have to paint this. And what I want to do is make a large centerpiece for my kitchen table with a gingerbread theme. So I'm going to shorten these a little bit. I think 16 inches will be long enough. And that way I'll cut off the hanger, and you know what? I can even save the remaining parts there if I want to make some little signs that hang. But basically I have 3 signs, one for the front, one for the back, and one for the bottom. Now these are not the same size. As you can see, I can use them this way and count them down, or the other way they won't be tall enough. I want them all to be the same height. And so what I'm going to do is cut both of those board signs down with my saw as well, just using that sign as reference. The whiteboards will go up and down on the sides instead of side to side, but I kind of like the variety in that. So those are going to be the sides. The fact that they're the chunky board signs really help keep this all together. Now I want to decorate the front and the back of this before we start putting this together. So I designed some SVGs, and I will include a link to all of these down in the description of today's video if you would like to recreate. It is black and red vinyl is what I used on my Cricut Joy Extra. And I went ahead and made them all separate files. So I made North Pole a separate file. I made Sweet Treats a separate file. And I have a duplicate of both of these because I want the front and the back to be the same because it's going to be a centerpiece on my kitchen table to go with all the other great gingerbread DIYs we've done so far this year. I've done my cabinet in my dining area. I've done my tier tray in my kitchen. Made some big gingerbread DIYs as well. So I wanted to do my table, and we're also going to be doing the coffee bar in a gingerbread theme as well. I just weeded out all of the vinyl, and then I'm just going to go ahead and cut these apart. The reason I did them all in separate files is because of the board sign. They have slats in between. I don't want any of the vinyl getting caught in the slats between the signs, which is why I designed them all separately. These are 2 inches wide, the slat board signs, and I'm just going to kind of mark a middle here just so I can center these a little bit better. And the top line is going to say North Pole. The bottom is going to say Sweet Treats. Now, at first, I thought about making the centerpiece, the flower box, to be a gingerbread house or to have some houses on it. But I want to include all the gingerbread things to decorate the inside of it. So we're going to do more of a candy cane feel for the actual flower box. And then we're going to fill it up with gingerbread goodies. So I am just using my transfer tape, and I had forgot that I really need to order some transfer tape. I had bought some of the economy, I think it's called, transfer tape by Cricut, and I refuse to use it. It is absolutely terrible. So I had some other stuff here that I'm just going to use, but definitely need to remember to order that for sure. Amazon is getting a lot of orders from me right now. But I just went ahead and attached that. So North Pole on the top, Sweet Treats on the bottom. You could always hand paint this as well. I wanted to use my Cricut on this because I really wanted it to be really pretty and kind of make it look like a company. A candy cane company is what we're going for with this one. And so I'm going to have North Pole, and on the top, Sweet Treats is like a little ad here at the bottom with a little flourish. And then in the middle, on the middle band, we're going to do red, and we're going to do Candy Cane Company. So just going ahead and making these exactly the same here on the front and back. I'm glad I remembered to add the vinyl before I started putting it all together. It would have made it a lot harder. And so again, the rest of it is cut out with red. I also cut out candy. I wanted to do like red and white peppermints, red and white candy canes, and the words that we want to add to the flower box as well. And again, these are all separate files too. I might make a folder because there's so many kind of separate files on this project. North Pole, Sweet Treats, Candy Cane Company, peppermints, and candy canes. So that's like 6 files. So that might be a little bit easier. I'll share my Google Drive of the entire folder if you want to recreate. Now, if you can't find the signs in white, these long board signs, you could do this with any and always paint it. They're super easy to work with, but they're the perfect length for making a long centerpiece like this. And I think it's going to look so festive. My house is going to be so ready for Christmas. So the candy canes do have the little stripe cut out. So I'm going to go ahead and weed those out as well. I did a border around them too so that it would be a little bit easier to cut these out. And we're going to decorate the sign with these. Now, I had seen some like centerpieces kind of like this for sale on Etsy and other stores, and they were so expensive, like $185, $200. So I was like, you know what? I bet we can create this with some cheaper supplies from the Dollar Tree. And I've had to get my gingerbread stuff at some other stores too, you'll see today. And I don't know about you, but my store, I went for greenery for this project today at my Dollar Tree, and it was abysmal. They had absolutely no greenery. They had no flowers. They had none of it. I couldn't believe it. But I just went ahead and cut these all separately because we're going to kind of scatter these all around. Each sign's going to have 2 of the candy canes. I'm going to lay them on their back like that, pointing up, kind of looking like, a sleigh, right? And then I'm going to do the little peppermints down here on each side of the sweet treats. Just trying to, get those measured where they are symmetrical and they're like the same height on the board sign. And we went ahead and attached all those. So I thought it would be easier just to go ahead and add all of my candy pieces here first. And then we can add the final word to this, and then you'll see how we go ahead and construct the whole thing. This is so festive and cute. I've had this idea to really transform everything in my kitchen and dining area into gingerbread men, and I think it looks so festive and fun for Christmas. Now, my family and I are traveling again this year for Christmas. We are going on a cruise again. We are going on a cruise with my college age son, my husband, and I, and we're going over Christmas. So I think that's going to be really fun, but it doesn't stop me from decorating the entire house. My husband always tells me, "You don't need the tree when we travel." And I'm like, yeah, we do need the tree. And I'm even going to take a portable tree on the cruise with us. I did that last year, like a little pop up tree that has lights, ornaments, everything on it, so I can decorate our cabin on the cruise ship. But yeah, we're going to Mexico, Honduras, Belize. I think it's going to be really fun. 7 nights, it's going to be really warm weather, which I really enjoy. For Christmas, I try to avoid the Midwest where I'm from, at least for Christmas time. It's just too cold. Since I've moved to Florida, I've become a wimp. So the third sign is going to be on the bottom, and it's actually going to be a little bit of a base for this because the signs that I'm going to use on the ends are not the same width as the other signs you'll see here in a minute. And I'm just going to construct this with hot glue. I use Gorilla Glue hot glue, and I just glue that on at a 90-degree angle, just lining it up to the very edge of the sign and just removing the tags from inside. I love the fact that all of these were like the same color. That was really handy not to have to paint this project, especially since I was doing so much vinyl on there. And as you can see, that candy cane company, I did that at the full 2 inches because I wanted that to really pop. And the other ones I did more of 1 1/4, 1.5 inches tall. I glued the other side on, making sure that both of my sides were the right side up. And now we can attach the bottom. I'm going to do it like this. So you'll be able to see like a little lip here on the front and the back, and because of the width difference. But I kind of like that. So I made sure to do the white side up. It will match everything else, and it gives it a foundation for the centerpiece. So this is what it looks like so far. I attached everything with hot glue, but I did decide to make the bottom stronger by taking a couple little tiny nails from the Dollar Tree and nailing them straight into those chunky board signs there to really make this really strong. But the corners seem to be fine with just hot glue. To fill it up, we're going to need some floral foam. I tried to grab all of my scrap pieces I had in my stash. I don't have a lot of the longer pieces, but I thought I could piece like maybe 3 different pieces together. I don't want to fill up the entire box. That would take way too much foam, and with the price increases at Dollar Tree, it's too expensive. So I'm just going to use 3, and I'm going to fill up the very bottom of our flower box with just some packaging from Amazon, just some brown paper bags. And then I'm going to add all of the foam here to the top. That way I don't have to waste all the extra foam. To make it one long piece, I just took a couple toothpicks and put those in there and put it all together to make it a little bit easier to work with. Then for a fun winter touch, we're going to add some snow with a snow blanket. This is one of the like polyfill snow blankets from Dollar General. And it did make it a little bit harder to put the florals in there, but I really like the effect, instead of using like a moss or something like that. Now, the greenery was the issue for this. I wanted lots of greenery, and Dollar Tree had nothing. So I had to go through my stash and pull out everything green. I had a lot of pieces that I had used with previous DIYs, probably tier trays and stuff like that. These little eucalyptuses that are bright green. And I had a lot of those. So I said, I can probably make a base out of these. It was probably good for me to go through my stash because if you're anything like me, I've hoarded so many like florals and greenery from the Dollar Tree. Like my closet is like completely packed with them. So ever since they raised the prices on the florals, though, I have been very selective. So I guess that's good. And I am going to just scatter these all over, trying to make it kind of symmetrical. And then I had some more eucalyptus pieces that were like a little bit different color of green, but they're pretty close. And I want this just to look really full. So I can add all kinds of fun gingerbread items to this. But definitely I want it to look like a planter box full of greenery, a nice, fun faux plant for my kitchen table. This one is not necessarily a Christmas greenery, but for some reason it kind of reminds me of that. It's a little bit softer green, and I have not quite as much of it as I did of the eucalyptus, but we are just going to kind of scatter that all around. I kind of like the fact that I had to use like the bottom of my greenery bin to go through all of these because I was able to get a wide variety of greenery in here and make it look really cool. These kind of remind me of Christmas. These ones with like the little white berries on there. The leaves are a little bit softer too. I thought that might be kind of fun and festive with a gingerbread theme. And we're going to be adding like lots of candy canes, peppermints, that kind of stuff to this as well. So we will have definitely some pops of red in here too. But I think the white is nice. So I kind of scattered that all over too and went ahead and used the entire bunch. That's something I've been trying to do too, is use my entire thing of greenery so I don't have all these scrap materials left over. And then these kind of remind me a little bit of a Christmas tree. So I thought these would be good. I don't have a lot of them, but I can kind of scatter those around the edges. I think that gives kind of a fun texture to this project. And I don't know if it was just the Dollar Tree I went to. Is your Dollar Trees like out of everything? Because I I couldn't find anything I wanted. I was able to find these though, these little mini sprigs. They do have glitter on them, which I'm not crazy about, but it might be fun and festive for a gingerbread theme. And they're not crazy with the glitter. So I'm going to go ahead and scatter those around. I thought that those would provide a little bit Christmas tree greenery, but also a little bit of height to this planter box and fill this all the way up. I think it's nice and full. I did pretty good with the fact that I couldn't find anything at the Dollar Tree, right? Now time to make some like little floral picks. I'm going to start with some ornaments that I got at Target Dollar Spot. One is this little felt peppermint. I love these. I've used these in my cabinet, my tier tray. I love them. They're so cute. I just took the hanger off and I'm going to take a Dollar Tree skewer that I just broke down to make it a little bit shorter and hot glue that inside to make a little floral pick. And then I also found these felt ornaments from the Target Dollar Spot, the little candy canes. Super cute as well. I have 2 of those. And so I'm just going to remove the tags, the hanger from those, and we're going to DIY those to make those into little floral picks as well. So I just broke down the skewers to make them shorter. I did have to cut like a slit in the material to be able to kind of get inside the candy canes and just place those inside. A little hot glue helps to secure that too. Since I only have one of the peppermint, we're going to do that right in the middle like that. And I want that kind of tall to give me some height. Then I thought it would be fun with the little candy canes to have them kind of hanging over the side. They remind me of the candy canes we added to the image on the flower box. And that kind of widens the centerpiece and makes it even larger, but not taller. This is a nice shorter centerpiece, so it's great you can still see each other. The next 2 items were from Dollar General. Only $1 for these candy cane picks. I love them. I use these for my cabinet too, making a little candy cane forest. They're so cute for $1. I absolutely love them. And so I added 2 of those, and so now everything's kind of symmetrical. Now for the gingerbread stuff for this one, I found this little ornament for $1 at Target Dollar Spot. The peppermint and the candy canes were $1 at Dollar Spot too. And I went ahead and removed the hanger since it was an ornament. I'm going to cut a tiny slit in the bottom. And again, taking a kitchen skewer from Dollar Tree, cutting that down. And we're going to add that right inside to make a little floral pick. And I thought we could put it right here in front of the candy. Since you're going to be able to see the front and the back, I need to decorate both. So I tried to find lots of gingerbread items that would be really cute. This is what I found today at Dollar Tree. It was the only gingerbread I could find at Dollar Tree. I had to buy the mug too, so it was $4. But I think it's the cutest plush gingerbread I've ever found at Dollar Tree. It was in like the Dollar Tree Plus aisle. So cute. And now I have a mug too that I can use for Christmas. And I'm going to make him into a floral pick too, just by gluing a little skewer kind of cut down to size on his back, just to make sure he doesn't tumble out of the centerpiece. And I think he's really the star of the show. I have him on the direction of the table that I see the most because I love him. He's got a little Santa hat on and he's so cute. And it's looking really full and festive over on this side. So let's flip it around and decorate the other side as well. I was able to find some Christmas ornaments at Dollar General. These used to be $1, I think, at Dollar General. They've increased their prices to $2. And I got the his and the hers. They're little metal ornaments. I just removed the hangers, and we're going to make these into floral picks as well too, just by adding skewers to the back. Now, I wasn't sure how well that would hold up, just hot gluing the wood to the back of the metal, because metal and hot glue doesn't always work well together. So I'm just going to reinforce it with a little scrap white fabric that I had laying around. And I think that's going to help. And since it's white, it blends into the back of it. You can't even tell. And that's what we're going to add to this side. No plush ones on this side, just some ornaments. But I think it's going to be really cute too. And again, I needed to decorate both sides since this is a centerpiece. And this is how it turned out. North Pole Candy Cane Company. Super cute. Lots of sweet treats. I love how this turned out. Here is a close-up of our centerpiece. I'll also show you how I styled it on my table. But isn't that little plush gingerbread there in front like the cutest? I think he's my favorite one, and I have lots of little plush gingerbread men. There's just something about him that's just adorable. And then this is the other side of the flower box. Still super cute using ornaments. I've also gotten some like gingerbread ornaments from Walmart that were really cute too, if you can't find anything at your Dollar Tree. So definitely had to shop at some different stores today. With Dollar Tree price increases, I've been trying to shop at other stores too, just to kind of see what other people have. But I think this turned out so festive and cute, and it's going to look perfect on my table for Christmas. I also wanted to show you some fun finds I found. So I found these little dish scrubbers at Dollar General for only $1. They're like washcloths with like the scrubby on the back, but they had a gingerbread one. So two of them for $1, which I think is a great deal. The other one's just green, which is fine. I'll probably use that too. But I also found a kitchen towel at Dollar General. This one was $2. It's really nice quality. As you can see, it's like that waffle knit, and it's got a gingerbread on there, and it's perfect for my kitchen. I'm going to hang this on my stove for sure. And then even a cheaper one, I found one at the Dollar Tree. This one says sweet as a Christmas cookie, and it's thicker than the Dollar Tree kitchen towels have been in the past, but I think it was a really good value. So I wanted to be sure to show you those two, some fun gingerbread finds that I was able to find on my gingerbread shopping spree. Super cute and festive. Now we're going to be decorating the table with that centerpiece. I don't think I've showed you guys my table since I DIY'd it. When we moved into this house, I bought like the cheapest table I could find on Amazon. It was totally not my style, and what I've done is remade it to make it coastal, and I think it's so fun. What do you guys think? Now, we are going to have to cover it up, though, because it does look so coastal. Doesn't go with the gingerbread vibe. So I ordered a red tablecloth on Amazon. I'll try to link this in my Amazon shop down in the description of today's video. It came to a package, and supposedly you can wash it off and stuff like that. I put it in the dryer for a few minutes, tried to get the wrinkles out of it. Probably needs a good ironing, but for now, it provided a fun pop of red. And this is exactly what I was thinking with the centerpiece here in the middle of my table with the bright red tablecloth. And the stores, I couldn't find the size for my table, so Amazon made it really easy. And I got two of them, so that's great in case somebody, like my son, gets food on the tablecloth. For this DIY, we're going to be crafting one of the little timer candles from the Dollar Tree. The battery operated candles. I love the fact that they're set on a timer for 6 hours. That is perfect. You don't have to worry about turning them on and off, but they're really fun to DIY. I'm going to show you how easy it is. Basically, I want to cover the white candle with something prettier, so I picked up some napkins from the Dollar Tree. These are the candy cane. I didn't like a lot of their Christmas napkins this year. The patterns weren't great, but the candy cane one is really nice. And, you know, they come in a gold, but I picked up one that was like a brass. Then I decided I wanted mine to be gold. So that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and paint it. I'm just going to protect the candle itself here just with a paper towel. And I'm going to simply use some gold metallic spray paint to paint this one. And then I'm going to cover the candle. It'd be really fun to do a variety of these. You could do them all in different materials. That would be really cute too. I think you could probably even use fabric to cover the candle itself. So I painted it gold and let it dry. That's what it looks like. And now let's decorate it. They don't come with candles. They take AAA batteries, so I'm going to go ahead and add those to it. I really love the fact that they're on a timer. I wish more Dollar Tree battery operated candles were like that. Now, this is the napkin we're going to use. It's not going to take very much of it, and it's definitely long enough to cover the entire candle. I thought this would be cute because I have a lot of red and white candy with my gingerbread DIYs in my house. I just cut it down to size and then removed the second layer, so I have one thin piece of napkin that we can cover this. I want my edge here to be straight, so let me go ahead and cut a straight line there for the bottom. And I'm going to simply wrap this around. Again, I don't need very much, so I'm going to go ahead and remove some of the material here by cutting it. And then I'm going to cut it where it goes all the way up to the candle. It does kind of bevel in a little bit there at the top, but I want to cover that part too. So I'm going to cut it right where the candle starts. And then we are simply going to decoupage this on with Mod Podge. So I just put a very thin coat. When you're working with napkins, you don't want to go too thick because you don't want a lot of bubbling or wrinkles or anything like that. And then I'm just going to put this on here. I'm going to have my seam be like on the back of where I want to look at my candle. And so I just lay that on there, lining that up. And I am going to have a little bit of an overlap here on the back. If you cut it a little shorter, you wouldn't have that, but I'm okay with that. I just added a little bit more Mod Podge, and I also Mod Podged the top of the battery operated candle, so it would go in that little bevel area there at the top. So easy. I'm not going to Mod Podge on top of it. The napkin is very delicate, and I think that that is going to work perfectly. Now, to decorate the base of the little candle, I'm going to use some of the greenery from the Dollar Tree, one of these little glitter sprigs. I love the fact that it's got the gold glitter on there. It matches the gold in this, and I just add a little hot glue to that, gluing that directly onto the front. And then since it is a candy cane theme, I thought it would be fun to put a couple little candy canes on there. I picked these up on Temu. They're little tiny candy canes. And a lot of times items that you order from Temu are kind of small, but they're great for little details like this. And there's certainly items that I can't find at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to glue 2 of them onto the base. And look how easy that was to do. I love the 6-hour timer. It lights up only on the candle top. Let me show you how it turned out. This is what it looks like during the day. It's bright and cheerful. If you want to display yours in your windows, they will look so cute. That's what they're traditionally for. With blinds in my house, it doesn't really work for me, so I'm just going to add this to my Christmas decor. And since it is the candy cane theme, I think it's going to look really cute with all of my gingerbread stuff in my dining area. This is what it looks like lit up at night. It doesn't light up the entire candle. It only lights up the very top of it, but I think it turned out really cute. What do you guys think about this one? For this DIY, we're going to do a cute little gingerbread wreath using one of the wreath forms from the Dollar Tree. It's going to be a little bit smaller wreath because these wreath forms are, so I'm going to do this one just for a wall hanging. Now, I want it to look like a peppermint, almost like a sparkly candy. So I'm going to do some white and red burlap ribbon that I found from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to wrap the entire thing with white, but I noticed that you could kind of see the green wreath form through it. So I'm just going to go over it with a couple of coats of white acrylic paint first, just to make sure that you can. What I was thinking is that I can wrap the entire thing with white ribbon, then do some candy cane stripes on it with the red ribbon, and then we can decorate it with some fun gingerbread details. So I just went over it with a couple of coats just to make sure I have good coverage. Don't want any of that green showing through, and then start with a ribbon. So I'm just going to start by hot gluing that kind of at an angle so that I can wrap this continuously all the way around. So I just hot glue it to the back like that to get us started. And just take your ribbon inside and outside. The more you keep it on the ribbon roll, the easier it is to do this. And I'm simply wrapping this all the way around. The reason that I'm using the white, even though I had already painted it, is because I don't want that texture of just the painted foam. I want it to have a lot of fun fabric texture to this. And I love the fact that the white ribbon and the red ribbon from the Dollar Tree are like the same. So they should go together really well. And I just wrapped it all the way around here. And I think that is good right there. So Look at that, an entire row of white to cover that well, so you'll need a whole package. My red, I only have a partial on, but I'm doing stripes with that one, so I shouldn't need quite as much. And again, I'm going to do the same exact thing where I'm going to start it on the back at a little bit of an angle like that to do the candy cane stripes. And I just attach it with hot glue here to the back. Now I'm going to try to keep my stripes as even as I can, but I also want to try to pull them taut like that so there's not any gapping. It takes that round shape. And I'm going to do that all the way around. Now, this isn't very sparkly for Christmas, but I have a plan to add a lot of sparkle to this and really make it shimmer like some Christmas candy. So I think that looks pretty good. I was able to stop it right where I started. So I just hot glued that to itself there on the back and trimmed off the excess ribbon. Now my plan for this is to have a little gingerbread man hang down inside. I found this cute little ornament for like just a couple of dollars at Walmart. It looks like an actual cookie. He's so cute. A little gingerbread man, the sparkly with glitter. He has a rolling pin, and I'm going to dangle him down in the middle of the wreath like that. And I also found some really cute gingerbread ribbon from the Dollar General. To tie him, I'm just going to use some of this cotton twine from Dollar Tree. I just wanted something white that would kind of blend in, and I cut a longer piece than I need because I'm going to use this for everything. So I just string this through my ornament like that, and we're going to like double knot this, and then we're going to double knot it up here by just taking the whole piece and knotting it upon itself the right length that I want this to dangle down. This will keep the ornament in place even when I use the same twine for a hanger. I then wrap that around my wreath form like that, make sure it looks good, and then I'm going to double tie this here, forming a knot, and then I can use that same material to tie another knot to make our hanger for our wreath, and everything should hang properly. I think that looks pretty good. For the top, we're going to decorate it with a bow. I found this great gingerbread ribbon at Dollar General. It was $3, but I thought it was so cute. I couldn't pass it up. So we're going to make a bow for the top. I just pinch a tail here and a loop and then wrap that around for another loop. Now, since this only has the pattern on one side, I do have to twist to make sure the pattern continues. I twist it, form another loop, and I do 2 loops on each side, and then I need to twist it to make my other tail. That way everything is going the right direction and you can see the gingerbread men. Just 2 loops on each side. Since it's not a very big wreath form, I don't think it needs a very big bow. And then I just took a Dollar Tree zip tie and zip tied it all together. It is wired, so I'm able to shape it the way that I want. And I also went in and dovetailed the little tails here and then shaped the bow exactly the way I wanted it. I thought this would look really cute here. It's glittery too, just like the ornament where it has glitter on the gingerbread men. So I thought that was really cute. I just took some more of that cotton twine, tied that around the bow, and then tied this to my hanger. So I didn't have to attach it with glue or anything like that. I just knotted that and put that right there on the front of a wreath form. I think it's looking so cute, but I forgot to add the sparkle. I probably should have done this before I added the bow for sure, but I'm going to still do it. I have some spray glue and some white glitter from Walmart. And I'm going to make this glitter like everything else on this project. So first I spray the glue, and then I just sprinkle on the white glitter. Sometimes I like my gingerbread products to sparkle. Sometimes I don't. This one I definitely wanted a little bit more sparkle and fun. So I did that like on the front and on the inside and the outside, really anywhere that you're going to be able to see. And I really don't need to add any more glitter to the ribbon or the ornament because they already have glitter on them and they already sparkle. But I thought this was fun and it really made it look really festive for Christmas. So just a few more places here that I need to add the glitter, and this DIY is ready to go. I think that made a big difference, especially since I didn't have any sparkly ribbon or anything like that, and it just made it look like candy. This is how it turned out, our little gingerbread wreath DIY. Very festive and cute. I plan on hanging this like in between my kitchen, my dining area, I think on the side of my kitchen cabinets. I think that's perfect for Christmas decor. Isn't that so cute? It was really fun to put together. For this DIY, I want to make a snowman using one of the large vases from the Dollar Tree that's fluted and one of the large Christmas ornaments. The Christmas ornament is going to be its head. It's just clear plastic, and again, the vase is just glass. I was inspired to make this project by a project that I saw on the Word and Home blog, and I will post a link to that down below. She definitely inspired me to make this one, and I'm so glad I did because it looks so cute. So the first step is to paint both of our pieces. This is the Christmas ornament. I put mine on a plunger handle, and I'm just going to use some of this white Rust-Oleum 2X spray paint. It does pretty good with the paint and primer to cover this all in one coat. The plunger handle worked great for that because it was pretty wide and it held this steady. And I also put that in something to set it aside to let it dry so it doesn't touch anything. Now this is the snowman body. I'm just going to go ahead and paint the neck area first and then put it upside down so that I can paint the rest of it here. And again, one coat seemed to do pretty good. Now, if you do have a little bit of anything showing through, it's going to be okay because we're going to cover this with like a snowy material too. But I think these turned out great. Now for the body, I want little buttons to go down the front of the snowman. So I'm going to use some of these stickers from the Dollar Tree and we're just going to paint them. These are like the larger button stickers. I'm just going to paint mine black. And I want to add all of the details first before I add the snowy layer to the snowman. I love snowmen for Christmas, winter, even Valentine's Day decor. They're so great because you can leave them up all season. Now I'm going to hot glue them. They are stickers, but not sticky enough to stay on a project like this. So I just add some hot glue carefully to the back because they are plastic and I don't want them to melt, and I glued those on for the body. Then I realized those would be, the perfect size for the eyes as well. So I went ahead and painted two more of the stickers black to use for the head. They're too big for the smile, so I'm going to use some of the smaller button stickers from the Dollar Tree. 5 of those. I'm going to paint those black as well, and that's going to be a perfect little grin for the snowman. This is its head, and then I got this great hat. Look at these hats I got on Temu. So cute, perfect for a snowman. I knew I wanted to make a snowman, so I ordered these. Now, on the original blog that I posted, they DIY'd a snowman hat. So if you follow that link, you can get an idea how to make a little beanie hat for the snowman. I just simply attached it with hot glue to the vase. I think that will be fine. You can always use a stronger glue if you wanted to, but for a project like this, I think that that's going to be strong enough. And then I hot glued on our little button eyes here. I wanted to try the hat on first, so I kind of knew where to put the face. I don't want to cover up any of his features. And then again, I painted the smaller little button stickers for the grin. Now, these are pretty tiny and my hot glue gun likes to shoot out a lot of hot glue. So I was trying to kind of like just dip the stickers in the hot glue. So I didn't get as much on there, but you might be better off using a different type of glue on that. The hot glue was a little globby, but we were able to make it work. The fact that we're going to be adding snow to everything means it doesn't have to be perfect. Now, I did use a little heat to make sure that I cleaned up the hot glue, and look at his face. It dented in slightly. Now, I'm not worried about it because a snowman is normally kind of lumpy like that, but beware, don't use your heat gun on the plastic ornaments from the Dollar Tree. They're just too fragile. Now for the nose, I took some Model Magic from the Dollar Tree. Sometimes I think you can get this a little bit cheaper at Dollar General. And I just simply shaped a cone shape. It's very similar just to working with Play-Doh. It's super easy. And I hot glued that onto the face of my snowman for a little carrot nose. And then while it's still wet, I'm going to go ahead and paint it. I never have trouble with that. It dries to like a hard foam material, this stuff. And I just painted it all over carefully, trying not to get any of the paint on the snowman's face. And the color I used was just a pumpkin color for the carrot. Now time for the snow. I'm going to use some Elmer's spray glue and I'm going to use some white glitter. I think I got both of those at Walmart. I simply spray the glue on and then sprinkle it with glitter. I love the fact that the white glitter is in a shaker bottle. It makes it so much easier to work with. And then I spray it again with the spray glue. If I have any areas that I found that I missed, I just went back and added more. And this combined with the white paint really kind of made it look like snow. There's other options you could use as well. You could use some of the faux snow from the Dollar Tree. You could use Epsom salt to do a faux snow. That's one of my favorites. But basically, I want to cover everything. So all of the buttons, the face, everything, make it all look snowy and frosty, even the outside of the carrot. And I just keep adding it until I cover the entire snowman with glitter. It's a little messy at this point, and beware working with glitter. You're going to have it everywhere. Now, while that starts to dry, I'm going to start working on his scarf and his hat. So I have one of these little placemats that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. I thought the red plaid would be perfect. This is a Christmas placemat for a little Christmas scarf. And I just cut a strip of it here, and I think that's going to look so cute for the little scarf. I'm going to use that for reference to cut another piece about the same size, because I don't think that's going to be long enough for a scarf for a snowman this size. And again, just cutting off the back layers. The great thing about this is there is a pattern on there. It makes it pretty easy to cut a straight line. And I think two of them together will work for that. But I want the hat to match as well. So I'm going to use this thin strip here that I cut off first and kind of cut off the seam just to give me a small little plaid ribbon here that I can wrap around that cute little snowman hat that I got from Temu. Now, the fabric does fray a little bit. I just tried to clean it up the best that I can. And I'm going to simply wrap that around our little snowman hat, attaching it with hot glue here on the back. I do want to add a few more fun details to this too to decorate his hat. He's not going to have any arms. I couldn't think of any way to actually attach to the glass face, but I think that's fine. And then I'm going to decorate it with a little greenery from Dollar Tree, cut down to like miniature size, the little fir greenery. And then I also found some miniature little pine cones on Temu, and I thought they were so cute for a project, especially like this. So I glued those on as well. For the scarf, again, it did fray, so I just went through and tried to cut off any of the strings. I'm not going to seal it or anything like that. I think if I get it cut pretty well, I won't have any problems, and I do want a little fraying at the end of the scarf. Now I'm going to simply wrap this around my little snowman, and I'm going to try to have like one part of the scarf going down to the side like that, this part overlapping just a little bit. I glued it in a fold like this so it would go down exactly where I want it to go, and then I overlapped it here with the other side. Now this is the other piece, so I'm going to need another piece of the scarf so both pieces can go down. This one I'm going to have to cut a little bit at an angle like that to make it look like it's folded over the top. I'm not actually knotting anything, but I wanted to make it look like it's wrapped around and knotted around the snowman's neck, and I have that kind of going out towards the front. Once I got it trimmed to size, I'm going to actually just pull the horizontal strings out of the fabric. It was a little tricky, but if you can get a hold of them, you can pull them out. And it's going to give that like frayed look that you see at the bottom of a scarf. And so I just did that with both sides. I thought that would be a fun little touch. Now for the hat, I'm going to simply glue that in place by adding hot glue here on the inside of our little hat so it doesn't fall off, and glue that onto the top of our snowman. Didn't he turn out so cute? I really love him with his little denty face and all. This is how he turned out, our little snowy snowman. I love him. I think he looks so festive, and I always need another snowman in my Christmas decor. My husband probably begs to differ, but that's okay. Isn't he cute? I love that idea, using an ornament and a vase from the Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to make some Christmas candles for my kitchen table, and I found these great Jingle Bell candle holders from the Dollar Tree. They are perfect. They're just the right size for a taper candle. Like, they hold it really well, and they're the perfect color of gold metallic. I love them. I do want to add a few more Christmas touches to them though. So I'm going to use some of the wired greenery garland from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to simply wrap that around the very top here of the candle holder just so we can add some Christmas fun. If you watched my gingerbread Christmas video, I did a centerpiece for my table and I have a bright red tablecloth. So I definitely wanted some candles to put on the sides of that long centerpiece. And I think these are going to be perfect to go with the gingerbread decor I have there. So I just simply made a little wreath by wiring that to itself and laying that on the jingle bell. Now this is a little bit long, so I'm going to trim it up. You could also use the little greenery metal ties from the Dollar Tree. Those would work well too. And again, I just give it a little bit of a makeover because I felt it was a little too wild looking. I'm going to do the same thing here, making a little candle ring for the other side. I don't want anything that's going to really interfere with the candle itself so that we can definitely burn these. And this will be at the base, so I think it'll be fine. So I just put that one on there, trimmed that one up as well. And then I want to add some Christmas touches to it. I thought we could add some little jingle bells. I found some red jingle bells that are little tiny ones. I thought that would be really cute since the candle holder itself is a jingle bell. And we can add some little pops of red in here. So I'm going to hot glue those around. I decided to do 4. That way all 4 sides of the candle holder are going to have a little pop of red and a little jingle bell. You could also use like the little red berries from the Dollar Tree. I think that would be really cute as well. But the candle holders themselves were perfect. I didn't have to do anything to them. And a lot of times they don't hold like the taper candles very well. And these were just perfectly sized too. I picked up a set of 2 red taper candles from the Dollar Tree. And we're going to simply just add these. I'm not going to add anything to them. I think they're perfect as is. And see how well they work? I was impressed. I didn't have to use any kind of adhesive or anything to get the candles to stay in place. And this is how they look, my little jingle bell candles. Super cute. I lit them to show you how they turned out. And my family always loves, like, anytime we can do like a candlelight dinner, it just seems really festive and fun. So I think these are going to work really well on the table. And the candle holders are definitely a great Dollar Tree find. Let me show you what these also look like lit up at night. So festive and fun, and I'm really glad I put these together. I love a candle DIY for Christmas. I think they're just so festive and fun. This DIY, we're going to take one of the 24-inch stackable snowmen from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to make this into a gingerbread snowman. I thought this would be really fun. I've done the gingerbread theme for the Christmas tree and made it into a gingerbread house. So I thought we would try something like that with the snowman. Now, this one already comes with like a hat and a scarf painted on. So I'm going to keep that in mind for my design. I'm going to kind of redo everything though. This is the paint that I'm going to use, the Rust-Oleum 2X Nutmeg, and I'm going to spray all of the pieces with that. Now, some people have had problems with this sticking to some of the stackables, but I don't know if it matters which stackable. I know a lot of people had trouble with the gift boxes, and so I definitely made sure to prime those, but I didn't have any problems with my Christmas tree. So I went ahead and painted this. I was trying to get mine with 1 coat, but if you have time, definitely do a thinner coat. It's definitely going to look nicer. But I tried to get everything in one shot, but I do add a second layer of paint. You will see here in just a minute, but it's not going to be spray paint. So just making sure I have all of the larger portion. I want to make sure that there's nothing forgotten here. I have every angle of it painted. And I'm going to set this aside and let this dry. Now for the middle piece, I kind of wanted to tape things off. I am going to redo the scarf on this, but I don't necessarily want it to be brown. So I'm just going to use some painter's tape and go around this. Now there is an area there above the scarf that is going to be exposed because the snowman head is not very big. So I'm going to want to paint that there on the top brown too. And so I just go around with some of this cheap Dollar Tree painter's tape. I know it's not going to be perfect, but I thought I could protect this area a little bit just to keep its original red color. Now, you probably don't need to do this step, the taping. You will see here in a minute, But I think that gluing things to this would probably work better if I glue it directly to the plastic and not to my painted surface. So that's one reason why I was doing it too. It has this little part of the scarf that comes down, and I just kind of pieced my painter's tape together to try to make sure everything was covered. It's kind of bumped out too, so it makes it a little bit more 3D. And we're going to do the same thing here for the Santa hat on the snowman. I'm going to incorporate a Santa hat in the design for sure. I think that's going to be festive and still go with my gingerbread man. Now this is going to be a gingerbread man snowman. So I'm going to make it look like a gingerbread man, but I'm also going to make it look like a traditional snowman. I decided to kind of mix the themes together. I thought that would be really fun. Last year I made one of these snowmen into the Grinch. And so that was a fun DIY too. And I reposted that recently. So if you would like to turn yours into a Grinch, you'll have to go find that video as well. And I am loving the stackable snowmen. This is the only thing that's not really selling out at my stores is all the snowmen. And I think a lot of people don't really know quite what to do with these rather than just leaving them as is, right? Now, I just went ahead and taped off everything just to be thorough on that so I could go in and paint his cute little face like a gingerbread man. So let's go in with the middle section of the snowman now that I have it taped off. And I'm going to spray this part here at the top. We're definitely going to be able to see that when we place the head on there. But I don't really need to paint like the little scarf area. And flip it over and paint the rest of him. Now, I kind of went back and forth about what kind of arms I was going to give him. I definitely wanted my gingerbread snowman to have arms, but I didn't really have any fabric that was quite the right color of this brown nutmeg. And so you'll have to see what I came up with. I think it's really cute. Again, just making sure I have a thin coat of paint here wherever, but I'm also trying to get as much coverage as I can on the white. The white is pretty easy to paint. And as you can see, the face is kind of 3D, so the eyes and the carrot nose still stand up. So I definitely have to incorporate that into my design. And again, I don't have to do the hat on him, so he didn't take a whole lot of paint here to spray, but I definitely got good coverage, I think, on him. And we're going to set those aside and let them dry. Now this one feels like it's pretty dry at this point. For the second coat, I'm just going to use acrylic paint. I'm using the Nutmeg Brown. As you can see, it's slightly different color than the spray paint, but that is okay. I'm going to sponge that all over. And if any of the original brown color comes through, that's fine. The different colors of brown will definitely make it look more like gingerbread. But I like sponging for sure because it definitely gives you that gingerbread texture. One reason why I wanted to do a second coat is just to make it look a little bit better. And I didn't want to do a second coat of the spray paint. This is a little bit faster to dry for me too. So I just went over everything while I still had the hat taped off for him. And we can go in and start working on his face. They have little bump outs for the eyes, so I'm just going to do black eyes because that would work for both a snowman and a gingerbread man. And just carefully go around the shape of that with my black paint pens. A lot of you guys ask what my paint pens are. I always use Posca. They're my very favorite. I do have those linked in my Amazon shop. And there's probably some really good Black Friday deals going on right now too. So you'll have to check that out for sure. They are really great paint pens. I wanted to go around the edges too and make sure all of it was painted black. The eyes are not going to be super large, but the head of the snowman's not very big either, as you can see. The face. And then he has a carrot nose, so we're going to incorporate that. So definitely he's still going to be a snowman, but he's going to be a gingerbread snowman. So I went ahead and painted his little nose orange like a carrot. And then for the mouth, it doesn't really have anything on there. And since I'm doing the carrot nose, I thought I might as well give him more of a snowman mouth. But you could always do just a black line for like a smile as well. Very icing. So for like snowman, I usually give them like a little button smile. So that's what I did. I just did 5 black circles with my black paint pen. And I think that goes with the snowman feel of him a lot better. And I did have to go over the carrot nose with that light orange several different times to cover up that brown, but I really wanted that to be look like a carrot and pop against the gingerbread. Now that I have that painted, I'm going to go ahead and remove all of the painter's tape. As you can see, I did get some bleeding with that cheap painter's tape and the spray paint, which I was anticipating, but it's no big deal because, again, we are going to cover up all those areas. I have a fun idea for those as well. I did notice the painter's tape did take some of the red paint off of his hat, so you'll have to keep that in mind if you wanted to leave yours that original color. That wasn't a very strong painter's tape, and it definitely took some paint off there, as you can see. Now, this is the fluff from a Dollar Tree Santa hat. I'm going to combine that with one of the scarves from the Dollar Tree, one of the Santa scarves, for some red fabric that I'm going to wrap around that. But you could really use anything for these. You could use the Santa hats, you could use the scarf, you could use even a stocking to get that red plush material. And I just cut the end off of my scarf, and it's like all folded upon itself, so you can cut it and get like a larger piece. And so I cut it along the seam to open it up and gave myself like a rectangle of fabric that I can use to try to wrap around. And it doesn't have to be all one piece, but I think that that's going to work. If I wrap it around, and then I can cut around the little ball on the top of the Santa hat. So I started with the very front, and I hot glued that, wrapping that tightly against his head like that. I just cut off the excess material here around the brim of the hat. And I definitely wanted to do the red part first, so that way I can do the white fur on top of that. I also cut the material around the little pom-pom there on the top, so that sticks out. And then I realized I didn't quite have enough, so I'm going to cut a little bit more fabric there for the very back so that I have really good coverage. I'm going to piece that together. The fur blends pretty easily. And I really love these Santa scarves from the Dollar Tree. That's what I call them, is the Santa scarves. They are great for crafting for like small pieces of fabric like this. So I just cut another piece, that like a little triangle shaped piece that I can fit there in on the back, and you really won't be able to tell that I have a couple different pieces of fabric back there. I just hot glued everything to the red. So just kind of following the color scheme that was on there before, but we're going to make ours extra special and so many fun textures by adding the fur, the red fur like that. I think that looks really cute. I just made sure everything was glued down. And then this is the fluff from the Dollar Tree Santa hat. I just cut it at its seam, and then I'm just going to cut the red fabric off from the Santa hat. And we have a great piece of material that I should be able to wrap all the way around the snowman head, and a great way to source some white fur from the Dollar Tree. And as you can see, it's a little larger than the brim of the Santa hat on there before, which is great because it will cover up any paint or cut seams here from the fabric that we added on both sides. So I just started in the back and hot glued that on, and I'm going to glue that around all the way, making sure I kind of sandwich that red fabric behind it with the seams, and then cut that off and kind of glue that to itself right there on the back of the gingerbread man. Now, if there's any gapping, I went ahead and hot glued that too, so it was tight against the Santa hat. I don't want you to be able to see in there, and I want to make it look a little bit more finished. Now, I have a little bit of that white fur left, so I'm going to use that to cover the pom-pom here on the top. Since I already have the plastic circle there, I just wrap that around, hot gluing that, and I'm going to try to make this take the shape of the pom-pom. So I just glued it all the way around, and then started gluing the pieces down where I can kind of wrap them tightly against each other like that, gluing them to themselves until I have that pom-pom shape that I was looking for the top of a Santa hat. And this little gingerbread snowman is almost complete. I wanted to add one more detail to the face. I'm going to take some rickrack from Michael's and add some tacky glue here to the back. And I want this to look like frosting on his face. Now, the face is kind of small, so I can't do a full circle, but I can give the appearance of a circle by doing an arch shape with those. and just gluing that on. And the top part of the circle would be covered by the Santa hat anyway. So I'm just sliding that under there slightly. And this is so fun because this gives him a fun gingerbread detail since he has so many snowman details on his face. And that's it. We have the top of our gingerbread man snowman complete. I think he looks super cute. And now we can start working on the middle section. So again, I'm going to go over the entire thing with some nutmeg brown acrylic by Apple Barrel and just sponge that on. I don't want full coverage. I do like a little bit of the two different browns working together. They're both nutmeg, but one's acrylic, one's spray paint, so they're a little bit different as you can see. And I just left everything taped off while I went ahead and painted that and made sure everything looked pretty good. Now for the buttons, they are kind of an oval shape. I painted mine white first, so I went over them with my white Posca paint pen. And what I want to do is paint them to look like some peppermint candy. Even though they're an oval shape, I think we can still get away with it. Now, I did paint them dark brown, so it definitely took several coats of white paint to cover those up, but I definitely wanted those to be bright white. And then we can go in with some red to make these look like candy. Again, they're a little bit 3D too. They kind of pop out, so I made sure to get the edges too. And then I'm going over them with my red paint pen. I'm going to do some little swirls, kind of curved a little bit. And I think I can fit like maybe a total of 4 here to give that candy feeling without having to attach something. Since the button's already there, I kind of have to work with what I have. But I think it definitely gives you that candy peppermint feel, even though they're not perfectly round. For the bottom one, I'm going to do the same thing where I do 4 little curved swirls here in the candy and then fill them in with the bright red. Now, I want to add lots of fun textures to this part of the gingerbread man too. So we're going to redo the scarf like we redid the Santa hat. So I'm just going to go ahead and peel off all of my painter's tape. I'm really glad I thought to paint that top section brown because you definitely need that to be brown when you go ahead and put it all together. It's definitely not going to be covered by the top piece. And I'm going to use one of the Dollar Tree Santa scarves for the scarf. It was the perfect size for this. First, I cut down a piece that will cover the existing piece that hangs down the front, and then I'm going to wrap this around. Now, it's a little bit thicker than the scarf that was on there, but we are going to make it work. I'm just going to kind of scrunch it up a little bit. You know, if you had a scarf wrapped around your neck, it would be a little scrunched anyway. And so I just attached that with hot glue, just kind of scrunching it to make sure it fits. I want to make sure that I don't have any of it in between the two pieces of the snowman that will prevent it from clicking together. And so I just glue it and kind of scrunch it as I go. And I go all the way around till this little piece that goes down in the front. And I'm going to drape that piece down, but I don't need it to be quite that big. So I trimmed it down here on the side of the scarf like that. And then I can have like that little piece hang down here. I want it to be a little bit different length than the other part of the scarf. They only had one piece of the scarf, but a scarf really should have 2 pieces hanging down each end of it. So I just glued this one kind of at an angle going off to the side and added that first, and then the other one will overlap this. And I made that one a little bit longer, but again, it's wide enough to cover all of the plastic molding that they have of a scarf, but this is going to give it so much more texture and fun. So I just hot glued that, completely covering that area of it too, and kind of giving the illusion that it is wrapped around and tied around the neck. Now, if you find any of this kind of gapping or not looking quite right, you can kind of glue it to itself to make it keep that little wrinkly pattern so it stays to the right size. Now, this is what the middle section looks like. It is complete, and we can start here on the bottom section. Now, this section I wanted to add frosting. I think that's about all I'm going to need for this section. I have the buttons and the scarf on the middle section of the body, but I did go over the whole thing again with the nutmeg Just sponging that on, trying to make that look modeled like some baked gingerbread men. And then I'm going to go in with the rickrack from Michael's for the frosting. So just adding tacky glue to the back of it. I'm going to kind of work one section at a time. And I went up like an inch or two here from the bottom. And I'm going to do like a squiggly line of frosting all the way around. I got these little paintbrushes on Amazon, and I was laughing because they are very much like makeup brushes. And then I was like, I probably should check out what Dollar Tree has for makeup brushes, because this worked really well for adding that tacky glue to the back of my ribbon very easily and quickly. And I'm just going to have the start and stop of the rickrack be there on the back of my little snowman gingerbread man. I'm decided to do a second row of the rickrack since I don't have a lot of decor going on this part. And since we didn't have any arms to decorate. So I started a second row, just spacing those out and just kind of eyeballing the spacing on those. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I wanted them both to be towards the bottom like that with their squiggle. And so again, just using tacky glue and then a baby wipe to kind of clean up any excess hot glue I might have. And I just wrapped that all the way around. And I love the rickrack for gingerbread men. I think it's so sweet. And it gives you a great texture too. So we have the bottom piece of our gingerbread man snowman complete. Now it's time for the fun part. We can just go ahead and click these all together. I tried to show you, but they do click together better when you stand them up and kind of push down on them like that. And so this is what we have so far for our gingerbread snowman. Now for arms, I decided to do like traditional snowman arms so we can do some sticks. I thought about doing some gingerbread man arms, but I like the idea of doing the traditional snowman arms. So I went and got a stick out in my yard that had two pieces that were similar. And I just cut those down with my miter scissors. And now I'm using my Dollar Tree pet nail trimmers to cut off all those little branches that kind of take away from the shape that I was looking for. There were a lot of branches on this tree branch. And again, this craft supply is free. It came from my neighbor's tree and fell in my yard. And so I have two arms that are a little different, but they're the same length. I think that's going to work well. I'm just going to mark here where I want those with a Sharpie on each side. And then I'm going to go in with my hot knife with the blade removed. You can also use like a wood burning tool for this. I think it's really similar. And I'm just going to simply melt the plastic. It's going to give me a nice large hole here in the side. And I did that on both sides. It's going to be the perfect size for these branches so we can have some snowman arms. And I want them to be kind of tilted up like you would do with a snowman, like that. So I added some hot glue here to the twig itself and put that down into the hole, gluing that in place and kind of positioning it up. Once it was dried, I added a little bit more hot glue there to kind of seal that up and glue that in place. And now we can do the same thing here for the other side. So again, I just added some hot glue to the stick itself, stuck it in there at an angle, held that in place, and added a little bit more hot glue. Then to cover up any white that might have came through there when I burnt that plastic, I touched that up with a little bit more of that nutmeg acrylic paint just to make that look a little bit better, but they stayed in place really well, and I'm glad I added that detail. A snowman definitely needs some arms, but I love the fact that we did a little gingerbread man snowman, combining my two favorite things for Christmas, the gingerbread man, the snowman. I love it. I think he's so cute. What do you guys think about my gingerbread snowman DIY? Really cute. Everything was from the Dollar Tree except for the rickrack and I guess the sticks from my yard, right? For this DIY, I wanted to see if I can make a Jenga block Christmas tree. At first, I was going to use that wood base that you see there from the Dollar Tree, but I do end up switching that up because it was just a little bit too big. These are the Jenga blocks that I just got at the Dollar Tree. Half of them are like natural wood and half of them are stained, which I kind of like the ones that are stained. So I thought we could add them to a Christmas tree here just by staggering them up like the side of a Christmas tree. And then the other side, we're going to do like the opposite. Now for the corner, I'm gonna have to overlap it there at the top. So they're not gonna be quite symmetrical, but I can always space out how I attach them to make it kind of line up more towards the end. And I was just trying to keep like the number of Jenga blocks even here and kind of seeing if I was going to like that. For the bottom, I wanted another piece of wood to put it all together with here for the base of the Christmas tree. I'm going to use some of this camping kindling wood from Dollar General. I got so many of those things on clearance. They're normally $1 at Dollar General, but at the end of the summer, they clearance them off. And so I have tons of wood, but you could use craft wood for the bottom of this as well. It's kind of a lightweight piece of wood, but it's going to work perfect for this. I'm going to stain it with some Antique Wax by Waverly to kind of make it blend in a little bit more with the stained Jenga blocks. It's not exactly the same color, but you're not going to be able to see the front of it. It's just going to be kind of the structure of it, and I want it to blend in. So I definitely stained that first. And now to build the Christmas tree. I'm going to glue the Jenga blocks together, one overlapping the next one, about halfway. And I just used hot glue for this. Have you made a Jenga block project using Jenga blocks from the Dollar Tree? And if so, did you use a different type of glue? I did consider using a different type of glue because hot glue can be a little bit messy with this. But I just kind of took my time and tried to clean up any excess hot glue that might have seeped out. But there might be a secret glue that I don't know about that might work better for this. But I thought the hot glue would be fastest, so that's one reason I used that. Guess you could use wood glue if you had a lot of time. For the top here, I didn't go about halfway. I went about a third of the way. So I would have extra length there on top. So the top of the Christmas tree would come to a point like that. And I'm just kind of spacing those out. I get more towards the bottom, doing it about halfway. I just want to make sure that my tree is symmetrical on both sides, given the fact that I have to overlap the top of it. And I think that looks pretty good. I have the two pieces of the Christmas tree like that. And then I have the base for the bottom. To cover that up, I'm going to use some more of the Jingle blocks so the wood will match. So I used 4 pieces to cover my piece of wood like that. And we can put the Christmas tree together. Again, I did have like a lot of hot glue that I did clean up on this project because I definitely wanted that not to be visible. But the fact that these little pieces are already stained, that helps because if you have any hot glue seeping out, it's not going to stain if you were to stain it later. But paint would work. I used hot glue to attach the top together, and then I'm going to use a lot of hot glue on both sides to stand our tree up here. I will add some snowy touches and stuff to that, so I don't care if you can see the excess hot glue there. I just wanted that joint to be as strong as possible. You might even use a nail to make sure that that's super strong. Then I decided the base was a little too big, so I switched it up for a wood circle. This is a chunky wood circle that I got at Michael's. I think it was like $1 something, so pretty equivalent pricing to the Dollar Tree, and it's a really nice wood slice. I'm going to stain that too with some Antique Wax by Waverly. It doesn't stain quite as dark on the top, but the sides did. And I'm going to cover the top of it with snow anyway, but I just wanted to go ahead and stain it in case there's areas that you can see below the snow. And I think that will coordinate nicely with the Christmas tree. For the trunk of the tree, I'm just going to use 3 Jenga blocks. I decided 3 would be a great height for that. And so I'm just going to simply hot glue those together to make a little stand here for our Christmas tree. This turned out so cute. It's so like vintage Christmas. I added as many Christmas details to this DIY as I could. I glued the tree trunk about halfway there in the middle of our circle. And then for the snow, we're going to use some Dollar Tree Epsom salt. It's always one of my favorite winter hacks. I use school glue all over the base of this, kind of spread that out so it's not so stringy. And then we're going to add Epsom salt. At first, when you put it on, the Epsom salt gets wet. It looks clear and it looks kind of like icy, which is cool. But when it dries, it's going to dry white. So it looks just like snow, and I scatter that all over. To make sure that doesn't go anywhere, I also sprayed it from the top with some Elmer's spray adhesive. I actually got that bottle at Walmart. I used to be able to find the spray adhesive at Dollar Tree all the time, but I can never find it anymore. And then I also used some white glitter to make our snow sparkle. You could also use like the faux snow from the Dollar Tree. It already glitters too. That would work too. And then I decided I wanted like snow on each section of the Christmas tree to make it really fun and wintry. So I added some school glue to the bottom half of each one of my Jenga blocks like that. And then I added the Epsom salt. So every part of the Christmas tree looks like it has a dusting of snow on that. I am avoiding the top at this point. I do want to do like a little tree topper there at the top. And again, Epsom salt. And again, I just glued them all on with the school glue at first. I also tried to cover up the hot glue there at the bottom that I used to attach it. Then I sprayed it with spray adhesive to make sure it stays on there and glittered it with some white glitter to make that sparkle too. The glitter did try to go like just about everywhere on this, but that's okay. It's Christmas, we can sparkle. I want a little bit of snow, not a lot, but just a little bit. I don't want it to interfere with what we're going to add to the middle of our Christmas tree. And so I added the Epsom salt and glitter to the sides as well. And I do want to add a little greenery in there as well when we go to decorate the Christmas tree. Now to put it all together, I put some hot glue on the Jenga block and glued on the little craftwood piece there that I had that kind of kept it all together. This is what we're going to put in the center. It is a Santa Claus ornament that I got from the Dollar Tree. I think it's a really good value from the Dollar Tree for a little ornament. I just cut off the hanger, and he also had a string like around his waist. I'm going to cut that off too. He's got a really cute suit. He's holding a Christmas wreath, and I think he's going to be the perfect size for this. He looks so vintage for Christmas as well. I'm going to glue the little Santa boots here right in the middle of our Christmas tree like that. He fills up the middle nicely. You could also use like a reindeer or something like that. For this star tree topper, I'm going to use some push pins. These are like in the stationery aisle at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to choose the white one that's kind of like iridescent. I think that's going to be pretty for the top. It's kind of small, but I think it will work. I didn't want anything to really take away from the Santa Claus. And it is a push pin. I'm just going to simply use a pair of pliers and pull that off. That way I can just hot glue the plastic star here to the top of our Christmas tree. And that was such an easy little tree topper there for the top. Just attached it with hot glue. It's looking really cute so far. I did want to add some greenery. This is some greenery that I found from the Dollar Tree. It's not quite green enough though that I wanted for the color. I wanted to match kind of the wreath that the Santa Claus is holding. And so I'm just going to paint it. I used some Christmas green with a little dot of black paint in there to make it a little bit darker. And I'm just going to use a sponge and simply paint the greenery. I've been trying to avoid getting too much floral or greenery at the Dollar Tree. With their price increases, I think it's just kind of expensive. So if I can DIY something that I already have, I'm going to do that for sure. 2 sprigs of this I think is going to be fine. I can have both of those in the base of the Christmas tree along with the Santa Claus kind of coming out both sides, pointing towards the outside of the tree like that. I'm going to simply just attach them with a little hot glue here to the back of the Santa Claus, the stem of each one of those. And I think that really adds a fun touch to this Christmas tree. And then I'm going to use some of the little miniature pine cones that I found from Temu. These are so cute. And you could also use like jingle bells, some of the berries, something small that you can find from the Dollar Tree, or something that you have in your craft stash. I glued 2 pine cones on, one on each side of the greenery on each side. And I think I need a little bit more snow here in the very front, but I'm not going to decorate the base, just the Epsom salt and glitter for snow. And this is how it turned out, our little Jenga block Christmas tree. So fun to make. I don't make a lot of Jenga block crafts, but I know a lot of people really love these. So I definitely wanted to see if I could come up with a Jenga block Christmas tree. I think he turned out so cute. And the Santa has so many great details. He has a really great Santa suit on as well. That combined with all of our faux snow, a little bit of greenery, I think it looks so fun and vintage for Christmas decor. If you're enjoying today's video, be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you haven't, I'd appreciate it if you would hype today's video. For this DIY, we're going to use a Dollar Tree 4x4 wood frame, some Jingle Bells, and just a wood box from the Dollar Tree. I made sure to get a box that would be the perfect size to make a shadow box. I want to make like a little shaker box with these. And so I'm going to use the glass and the frame on the front of the box. And so I'm just going to go ahead and take it all apart so that we can paint it. I don't need the little staples, so I'm going to carefully remove those with a pair of pliers. I find that bending them first back and pulling them out works good so it doesn't split the wood. And I want it to be a festive red for Christmas, so I'm just going to use some bright red acrylic paint, and we're going to paint everything. I'm going to paint the inside of the shadow box because you're probably going to be able to see in there. And then, of course, all of the outside of it as well. And I also want to paint that wooden frame for the front. Now, there's different sizes of the wood boxes from the Dollar Tree. So depending on which one you get, you can kind of experiment with some different frames. But Dollar Tree does have a lot of like square frames that's going to work really well for this. And you'll already have the glass for the front of it as well. Since this is kind of a standalone piece, I want it to all look good, so I went ahead and painted the back as well. Now, I wasn't sure about painting this frame, and I was disappointed. As you can see, it's like really glossy and sealed, so it does not adhere the paint at all. Now, the wood beads do. They're like a raw wood, and they absorb the paint, so we're going to have to get creative with how we paint these. So I'm just going to go ahead and wipe that off. It's definitely not sticking here to that glossy wood finish. I've had problems with Dollar Tree frames before with that, and so I'm going to rough it up by trying to take off that glossy coating with a sanding sponge from the Dollar Tree. And it definitely did rough it up pretty well here. So I went around like that outer frame, and then I also kind of have to do the inner frame. It's the same thing where it's all sealed. And it was a little tricky trying to work around the wood beads on that, but I think that will at least like help the paint to adhere. It's still not perfect. You'll see how we end up really making this red and pop. But I wanted to use acrylic paint on this just for time purposes. You know, it's going to dry with my heat gun super fast, and I don't have to wait for it like I do with spray paint. So I went ahead and painted the entire thing. I did both of the frames, and that did cause it to stick better. And then to get in between the like little wood beads here on the front, I switched to a paintbrush and painted those bright red as well. Now, I thought at this point that it was looking pretty red. I thought it was going to work. But once I started to dry this, I did notice that a lot of it didn't look good. You could see the wood coming through, as you can see there, around where the wood beads and the frame come together. So I give up and I use some bright red spray paint here. This is the apple red, I think it is. And I just spray painted that to get down in between all those pieces, and it just made it look so much better. So I probably should have done that in the first place on that. And then I'm going to fill it up with the giant Jingle Bells from the Dollar Tree in gold. I thought these would look so fun in here. And there's 9, which fits perfectly on the inside of this box. Now for the glass, we're going to add that back to the frame. I'm going to add some vinyl to that to really give it some Christmas fun. I add a thin row of hot glue on the inside of the frame and glue the glass into place since we removed the staples from this. And this is going to be the perfect front for the shadow box, the little shaker. And then I cut this vinyl out. I will include a SVG for this if you would like to recreate it. The eye, the dot of the eye, definitely went off with my vinyl, so I had to recover that. But it basically just says Jingle Bells in like a script font that I think is going to be really cute. I just cut this out of white vinyl, and we're going to add that to the glass. It's going to go with my red, white, and gold color that I really like. And I just use a little transfer paper. I love the paper transfer paper on Amazon. I do have that linked in my Amazon shop. It's definitely one of my favorites. It adheres to the vinyl really well, as you can see. Then I'm going to add this, trying to make sure I get it kind of centered in there, and add the vinyl to the front. Now, if you don't have a Cricut, I think it would still be really cute. You could even hand paint on there if you were confident on painting on glass, but painting on glass can be a little tricky, so I definitely wanted to use vinyl for mine. You could also use a window decal. That would work as well for something to add to the front. If you could find something that said Merry Christmas, that would be really cute. Or like a Santa Claus, Snowman, Gingerbread Man, something like that. I put hot glue on it, and I glued it where the base of the frame lined up with the bottom of the box so it would sit evenly so I can stand that up. And this is how it turned out, our little Jingle Bell shadow box My son thinks this is really fun because you can pick it up and shake it and you have some real jingle bells. And it's always fun to have like some decor pieces that you can actually play with, I guess. But I love the bold red. If you're going to use that exact frame, I definitely recommend spray paint for sure. Now up next, we're going to be decorating my coffee bar. I have a small wall between my kitchen and my dining area that I've converted into a coffee bar in my house, and I want to decorate it fun and festive with a gingerbread theme. For the top shelf, I needed some kind of a garland, and I want to go with red and white, of course, with the gingerbread theme, and I found this wood bead garland at Dollar Tree. So I'm going to cut it down. I need it to be a little bit shorter here. And I'm just going to cut it here so I'll have enough twine to be able to tie a loop on the end of it like is on the other side. And I didn't have quite enough, so I just used some more twine to tie that off and just cut off all the excess material. We're not going to add anything else to it. I just wanted a little pop of red and white. The natural wood is really nice on these too, and I think these are great quality for the Dollar Tree. I just hung those on my top shelf there with just a couple dots of hot glue to get us started on this gingerbread coffee bar. Now, the next thing is a thrifted find. I found this sign half price on Labor Day at Salvation Army, and it was a great deal. I thought it was a big, chunky wood sign. I could make something really cool out of this. And it's a pennant, but then I was like, you turn it upside down, it's a perfect house. So I'm going to make a giant gingerbread house cookie with this. Now, if you're wanting to recreate this, you could use some of the house signs from the Dollar Tree. They're definitely going to be a lot smaller than this. Or you could take any kind of a rectangular sign like this, like thrifted, and just cut the corners off like that at an angle, and you would have a house shape as well. This turned out so cool. I'm so glad I picked this up. Anytime I can get like some thrifted wood signs that are really heavy duty like this, especially for half price, I always try to pick them up. So it does have words all over it. And so that's the first thing I need to do is try to cover all of that up. I just go in there with some white acrylic paint and I'm just sponging that on, trying to cover up everything. I don't want any of that writing to come through because I have an idea of how to make this gingerbread cookie look really beautiful and detailed. So I'm not going to use my Cricut or anything on this one. I'm going to try to do it all by hand. So hopefully you'll get lots of crafting inspiration. It was really fun to do. I've made a way smaller version of this before. Because what we're going to do is more of like a Scandinavian version of a Christmas gingerbread house cookie. So lots of fun details, kind of a two-color thing, but definitely wanted to make sure that I had really good coverage with the white acrylic so I would have a blank canvas. For the paint color, I'm just using Nutmeg by Apple Barrel, Nutmeg Brown. Great color for gingerbread. And a lot of the things I found for my gingerbread coffee bar were more of the darker color of gingerbread. And so I think this is going to be perfect. I'm just going to sponge it all over. I really like the sponge effect for like a gingerbread cookie because it gives you like really good texture. And even though I went over it with a lot of white, I felt like I needed to go over it quite a bit with a couple of coats of the nutmeg brown. I also want to paint the edges of our giant cookie too. So I went ahead and painted those too. The back, I'm just going to leave it like the green color. You're not going to be able to see it back there. The great thing about this is going to be a great coffee bar sign that I can just kind of sit. It leans against my wall and I don't have to do a hanger or anything on that. Just trying to go over it, trying to get maximum gingerbread cookie vibes on this by sponging more and more paint on it until I had pretty good coverage. Then to decorate it, I went in with my white paint pens. You guys always ask about these. Posca paint pens are my very favorite. I get them either on Amazon. Usually my best deals are on Amazon, and I do have those linked in the description of today's video down on my Amazon shop. They're so great. And I just did an art shape for the door with a heart cut out. I'm going to do 2 art-shaped windows, trying to make them the same height, kind of symmetrical if I can. And then maybe just like a round little circle here for a window in the attic. I want everything on this to be like brown and white, the very Scandinavian gingerbread house look. And then I just did a line straight down on my window, 2 straight across to make those look like little panes. And I'm going to do that up here with our little attic window as well. And then I'm going to fill in the little like heart cutout here on the door. And a lot of fun with the Scandinavian feel is that you decorate them with all kinds of fun shapes and details. So I started with like some squiggly lines and some dots on the side of my door, and I'm going to carry that theme all the way down. If I did one on one side, then I would immediately go to the other side and try to do a mirror image, and that helped keep everything symmetrical. Then I thought a little vine would be cute, so I just drew a little vine and did little leaves here. And don't be intimidated by this. I mean, you can make your gingerbread house look however you want. On this one, I decided I wanted the leaves to be colored in, so I just went in with my white paint pen and colored those in. Basically, I want to cover up the entire gingerbread house with these fun details. Lots of fun shapes. I threw in a lot of hearts. This one's like a heart and a frame here on the side, since there's not enough room really for windows down here. And then I thought some leaves coming out of it would be great. And I'll do some like little squiggly lines that are curly above it. Over here, how about some zigzags? I was trying to think of different shapes that I could use. Polka dots add a fun touch as well. And then I think I can do like a few more leaves here, kind of going down the side of the door. This was so fun. I had to kind of pause in between each thing, kind of think about what I wanted to do. And as you can see, I'm just trying to mirror image everything. Did like a little backwards curly Q, and then kind of an S shape on the other side. And then how about some little triangles? I haven't done any triangle shapes on these. That's very Scandinavian looking too. And just lots of fun details. I don't want too much of the brown just being solid. I did kind of a different version of like a little squiggly line there above the door. And then I thought I would do another heart above that. I really love a heart on my gingerbread house cookie. And I kind of framed that one as well. We'll have like almost like a crown coming out of the top of this one just by doing some lines and some polka dots for like a little border. We'll do some more squiggles over here. And how about a diamond shape? I haven't done that. We can do like a few leaves. As you can see, this was really fun to do. I just kind of took my time and just did what made sense for the size of the sign that we're doing, which was pretty large, as you can see. I did some like C shapes in between my little curly cues over here. And also, I think the polka dots really help add a lot of fun appeal to it too. And then I think I'll do some more vines up here just by doing kind of some straight lines over this. And you can definitely take a picture of mine and use it for inspiration if you need to, because there's so many fun ideas you can use to decorate these. I did little curly cues here with polka dots all along the roof line, since I don't really have a roof line, just to kind of delineate that and make that look a little bit separate. And I think the polka dots help with that too. And then I just have this attic area. I thought maybe these curly cues will look cute with a couple different branches coming out of them. I did another diamond, some more leaves. Leaves worked really well for filling in little vacant spots, and some more little curvy lines there at the top. Then we're going to go in with some puff paint. I picked up this white puff paint at Walmart, and it makes a perfect frosting. So only some parts of the cookies are we're going to frost. We're going to frost the windows. So right there where I had painted them, I found it easier to paint it first, so I would kind of know where to go with my puffy paint, because I'm not quite as good with that as I am with a paint pen. And I just sketched out both windows, and we're also going to go around the door like that. And I thought there was just a few items that needed to be iced. So the doors, windows for sure. I also gave it like a little doorknob here. Then I thought we could have some snow on the roof of the gingerbread cookie for some more frosting, some faux frosting. The puffy paint makes this really look like frosting. I just did little curvy lines here all along the top, and then I went back in and kind of filled that in to make it look like there was some snow there on the top, but I didn't want to take away too much from the detail of my cookie. Then I went in and did like some little icicles hanging down from the roof line with the puffy paint as well. Then I thought the hearts would be really cute if I iced them. So I'm going to ice all of the hearts that I have here on the cookie. And really, I think those are the only details that really need the icing. The rest of it kind of looks like a powdered sugar effect, which is really cool. I did go ahead and do the frames here for my windows because I had just done the outline before. And I did that on all 3 of my windows. What do you guys think about my giant gingerbread house cookie? I think it's so fun, and it really took up all of the room on the top tier of this coffee bar, the top shelf. And I just leaned it up against the wall like this. You really can't mess this up. And can you imagine if I had used vinyl for this? It would have taken forever to weed that much vinyl. And just get a paint pen out and have some fun for Christmas. I really love how this turned out. As you can see, it's really big there on the top of my coffee bar. Now, I needed more plush gingerbread men, and don't laugh, but these are dog toys. I picked these up for $5.99 for both of them at Ross because I was desperate for some plush gingerbread men. Everybody's bought them all at Target Dollar Spot already, and I really wanted some more. So I asked my son, who was with me this day for Thanksgiving break, I was like, are these cute enough to use for my coffee bar? Do they look like dog toys? And he's like, no, they're definitely cute enough, and they really are. I just have to remove all of the tags and stuff like that. One is wearing a scarf and a Santa hat, and one's wearing some little shorts. Super cute. I'm going to kind of lean these together up against that giant gingerbread house that we just made and up against the wall. And I love the texture of the fabric they're made out of. And you know what? They squeak too, since they are dog toys, but they worked. And so this is what they look like here on my coffee bar. I think they're so festive and fun. Other places I have found plush gingerbread men, is Target Dollar Spot, Dollar Tree, and I don't think I've found any at Dollar General. I found lots of other gingerbread men things at Dollar General though. And now moving on with this shelf, I thought we could do a fun tree. This is just a foam cone tree that I got on Temu. It's larger than the one from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm going to use a placemat from the Dollar Tree. And really, I'm only going to be using the back of this one. It's like a kind of a shinier red, and it's the perfect shade of red that we've been using on the tier tray. And I think it's going to look really good. So I'm just going to cut the back of this off. I can always save that Christmas plaid on the other side for another DIY. I always try to pick up a variety of the placemats from Dollar Tree because it's a great source of craft fabric for something like this. Now, as you can see, the tree is pretty large. I want it to look kind of like candy, like a candy cane tree. And so I'm going to wrap it with the placemat. It was not quite large enough, but I'll show you what I do to kind of mask the part that's not covered with it. I just tried to cut this down into a piece that would fit the side of the tray that would go kind of straight up and down. Attach that with hot glue to the foam cone. And the part that I'm going to leave exposed is the bottom. That's going to be easier for me to try to cover than the very top. And again, I just kind of cut a straight line here where they will overlap the fabric here. And I'm going to just simply hot glue this part down as well so it's tight up against the cone. And then I'm going to hot glue the fabric to itself. You will have a little bit of excess fabric on the bottom that you have to take care of, but all you have to do is cut that part off. At first, I was going to do a gingerbread tree with this, but I have so much gingerbread going on the shelf that I thought it needed a pop of red and white candy. So that's what we're going to try to make this Christmas tree look like. So it is completely covered with fabric. I do plan to do a tree topper, so I'm okay that you can kind of see in the very top of it. And I will do something fun to cover up this area there at the bottom too, where you can see that. For the ribbon, I found this ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I thought it was just regular white ribbon. I guess I didn't read it, but it's actually velvet ribbon, which I really love. I was kind of surprised by this. And I'm still going to use it. I like it. So I'm going to start here at the very top and just kind of hot glue here. And there's, I think, about 6 foot of the ribbon on this. And so I'm going to see how far I can get with wrapping this around. I started doing it a little bit tighter than I was able to end up just from the length of the ribbon. It definitely takes more than you think it's going to need, but I was going for kind of a candy cane striped feel on this, and we're also going to decorate this with some fun candy as well. And I just wrap that around as tight as I can to the cone shape. You'll see here when I run out of ribbon, I wasn't able to keep it quite that tight all the way down to the bottom, but that's okay. I haven't glued anything down besides the top piece, so I can kind of scooch everything down here and make it work a little bit better. So I just kind of moved the rows down, made them a little bit larger so that it will be able to go all the way around at the bottom as like a little garland here on our candy cane tree. So that looks way better. Definitely spaced out more. And I'm going to have this come around here and end right here at the bottom. Now the bottom does look kind of sloppy, you know, because the placemat wasn't quite big enough. But I thought that it would be really easy just to cover that with like some faux snow. That would look really cute. So I'm just going to use one of those snow blankets from Dollar General and cut out a little piece. I wasn't able to find this at Dollar Tree this year. I don't know why. But I'm going to add this to the bottom. I don't quite need that much. Maybe I'll cut it like a little bit wavy so it'll look like little flurries of snow around the bottom. So let's do this like about a half of this. And I just kind of cut like a swirly pattern, and that will provide cover for the foam and just make everything look more finished in the end. And it definitely goes with the Christmas feel, even though we don't do snow around here. But I hot glued that on. I'm going to wrap that all the way around. I didn't really hot glue much of the ribbon in place, so I did like about halfway up decide to glue that down just so it would stop kind of shifting and moving around like that and stay put. And I just glued that snow blanket all the way around there on the bottom. You could also use like the top of a stocking or the bottom of a Santa hat for that too. It makes a great faux snow as well, that white fur. And I think that looks really good. The reason I was doing this with a Temu tree is because it's a lot larger than the one from the Dollar Tree, and I wanted some height on the top of the coffee bar. So I am going to go in next here with a tree topper. I found these little stretchy toys for $1 at Target Dollar Spot, but there was a peppermint in there. They're squishy though. I didn't expect them to be quite so squishy. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to use this as a tree topper. I think it's perfect, but I knew it wasn't going to hot glue. So what I did was I just took a toothpick, kind of stabbed that inside like that to make a little pick that I can then glue and attach to the foam here just by putting that down inside. It was a little tricky to work with, but it was a really easy way to get a peppermint. There's some other great shapes in there as well. I found like the mitten, snowflake. I can use those for some other winter crafting as well, and they were just with the toy stuff at the Target Dollar Spot. Then to decorate the tree, I'm going to use some little tiny candies that I found from Temu. These are the peppermints. They are beads. They're very tiny, but they make great tree decor. And then these are miniature candy canes that I got on Temu. Aren't they so cute? I thought these would be perfect for this theme to go with all the gingerbread items on the shelf of the coffee bar. And I was worried about the little peppermints putting too much hot glue on them. So I was trying to be selective with my hot glue here by putting it on my silicone mat first. But it did kind of still string the hot glue everywhere. I was trying not to use too much. My hot glue gun often dispenses a little bit more hot glue than I want. And so I was trying not to get hot glue on the fabric if I could. And I'm not going to decorate all the way around. I'm only going to decorate the front and both sides of it. I'm not going to decorate the back just because I'm not going to have enough peppermint. But I'm also going to add the candy canes. These are so cute. I hadn't crafted with these before. These are also from Temu. And I'm going to have them go all different ways. They're large enough that I was able to add hot glue to those, which sped this up. And I'm just going to have alternating peppermints and the candy canes all the way around just for like little ornaments here on our candy cane tree. I have another fun idea to kind of make this glitter and sparkle like candy too. So once I get everything on here, then I'm going to decorate it even more, and I think it looks really cool. I've done a gingerbread wreath for my kitchen where I did a similar candy effect, and I have like a little baker gingerbread ornament hanging down in the middle, but it kind of looks like crystallized candy, which I love that look, and I love the glitter. So I just added enough ornaments to make sure 3 sides were covered. And I think that looks pretty good. So how I'm going to do that candy effect is glitter. So I'm just going to put something down here to protect my surface. And I picked up some white glitter from Walmart and some spray glue. And this is so easy to do. Even though I'm working with fabric, glitter attaches to it really well. I just spray it with glue in a section and sprinkle it with white glitter. It kind of gives like a sugar effect on it, which I love. So I'm going to do that all the way around. Trying not to, like, I don't really want too much of it on the snow blanket on the bottom. If some gets on there, I don't really mind it. I'm also going to glitter the tree topper too, and just looking for any areas that might need a little bit more, maybe right here in the front. And now it looks sugary and sweet. We're going to display this next to that giant gingerbread house on the top of the coffee bar. And I think it looks sweet enough to eat. What do you guys think? That velvet ribbon from the Dollar Tree was quite a find too. Have you ever seen that at your Dollar Tree store? You'll have to let me know down in the comments below. I have never seen it before. And I didn't even know it was velvet. This is what the shelf is looking like so far. I needed some smaller items, and I had some of these left over from a little gingerbread. It's like a toy kit that I got from the Target Dollar Spot. I used the rest of it for my tier tray in my kitchen, but I had the little gingerbread like present and the Christmas tree. So I set the present next to the tree. I put the little Christmas tree in front of the gingerbread house. And then the snowman, I put it over here by the little gingerbread men. So it looks like maybe they have built a snowman when they're out playing here on the top of my coffee bar. And the top shelf is complete. I love the giant house. I think that's so cute, the giant house cookie. For the next year, instead of using a garland, I'm using some icicle fringe from the Dollar Tree. I thought this would be perfect because it would look like gingerbread frosting hanging off the shelf. And you get 2 in a package. So what I did was I cut mine down to size so it would fit the shelf. I want to go all the way around the edges. And then I thought, originally I was going to be able to do both shelves with this because there's 2 in the package, but I forgot how thin they were. So I'll show you here how it looks like with one, but I just shortened mine here. Luckily, I cut them like this, so it was symmetrical, so I was able to double up. This is what it looks like doubled up. It's nice and fun, but when you take them apart into the 2 pieces, it gets kind of thin. So I went ahead and hung my first one up. As you can see through it. It's that level of thin, which didn't really remind me of frosting. It really kind of looked kind of sad. So what I did was went over it, added the second one too, kind of matched everything up, and now it looks way better with that fun frosting like roof drip. I love that idea for the coffee bar shelf. The next item I found was from Ross. I got this for $4.99. It's a really beautiful gingerbread tray. I thought this would look really cute displayed on this shelf of the coffee bar, and it really doesn't need anything. I'm going to use one of these little acrylic plate holders that I got on Amazon and stand this up here on the bottom shelf. Isn't it so cute? I love that it's not real colorful, so it really goes with like the color style of the gingerbread house that we did on the top shelf. It's only got like the green wreath on there, but lots of fun details and super cute. Kind of looks like something you'd find at Target Dollar Spot too, right? And I added that to the bottom shelf with our frosting icicles. The next item, I wanted something a little bit taller, so I picked up a little wooden gingerbread sign from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to hang that on the wall next to the gingerbread house. So I'm just going to simply paint him first with some nutmeg brown by Apple Barrel. And, you kind of have to paint everything. The parts that are supposed to be frosting, the bow tie, the buttons, it's really the only way to do it. And I just kind of sponged mine all on. I don't want it to be super thick. I just kind of wanted to stain the wood. Now, I didn't notice until I started painting it, but there must have been a seam in the wood because as you can see, there's a line that goes straight up the gingerbread man. But I don't think it'll be super noticeable. He's going to be on the wall kind of behind some other stuff, so I'm still going to go with it. But I hadn't had that happen before. Now for the eyes, I just used a black paint pen and just did a couple simple circles here. And we'll do a white paint pen here to draw on a very simple smile. No nose or anything on this little guy. And just kind of going with how he's dressed. He has a little bow tie on. So I thought I would add a pop of red with some red acrylic paint just on the bow tie, trying not to get it on the gingerbread man, but it's kind of impossible. And just cleaning that up. I'm also going to make his little buttons here, which are super cute that they're real buttons, make them red as well. Then I'm going to use some white puff paint from Walmart here to do the frosting. I just went over the little bump out parts there, like on his arm. And again, trying not to get anything on the gingerbread man, but I want him to look like a frosted cookie. So I'm going to go on both wrists and both ankles, just kind of doubling it up, making it look fluffy, the frosting here. And then I thought we could add some more fun details as well. I love it when like a gingerbread man has like the little curvy line around its face. So I'm going to draw that on with the puff paint. I also went over the smile to make it look more three-dimensional. And I'm also going to outline the bow tie just to give it a little bit more definition. I wanted as much frosting on this as I could get. So the little squiggle line here around his face, I just go back and forth like that with the puffy paint. This just makes a really great frosting. Definitely fun to have this time of year. And again, I got the puff paint at Walmart. The bottle makes it pretty easy to apply. Then I thought we could frost the entire outside of the cookie too. This made it a little bit hard to pick up at first until it starts to set up. But I just kind of did an outline all the way around just to really kind of make him pop. And I think that's it. I think this looks like a little gingerbread cookie with some fun frosting on it. I just hung it with a nail here to the back of my coffee bar shelf. So I had a little bit of height right there too, and displayed it with that great little gingerbread house tray that we found at Ross. I told you I was going to use lots of different stores today. I definitely had to. And have you ever had like your Dollar Tree wood products have a seam in it like that gingerbread did? And that was the side with all of the bump outs, so I really kind of had to use that side. I don't know, I've never had that happen before. The next item is a little Mary Ray Dunn mug that was a Christmas ornament I've had for many years, and I'm going to display it with some measuring spoons that I found from Target Dollar Spot. They are red and white peppermint candy. I thought this would be really cute to stand this up inside of this little red mini mug. I always use it on my coffee bar. I don't use it as an ornament. I think it's so cute. I have the large version of this mug too. And I am displaying it here next to that gingerbread house and the gingerbread man. Super cute and whimsical, and really shows off those cute little measuring spoons. I also got the gingerbread measuring spoons. If you've seen my other gingerbread videos, I did my tier tray this year, and they had gingerbread measuring spoons as well at the Target Dollar Spot, which I love. Now, the next item we're going to use is a plate that I found from Dollar Tree. It's red with white snowflakes on it, but there is an area that doesn't have snowflakes. So I'm going to make it into a sign for the coffee bar. So I cut out some white vinyl with some words that I thought would be really cute on here. And I thought the red and white would look really nice with all of the gingerbread items that we're adding to this shelf. And I love the idea of making just a Dollar Tree plate into a sign. It's really festive looking with the bright red plate with the white snowflakes all over. I just cleaned it up with a little bit of rubbing alcohol because we're going to be adding vinyl to it. And I do have the SVG for this too if you'd like to recreate. I will include the link down in the description of today's video. But I thought it would be fun to make like a little hot cocoa sign, like a little hot cocoa bar. And so I cut out the word hot cocoa. I kind of curved the hot a little bit. So you should notice that in the SVG, it is curved a little bit at the top. And then I have some more words here at the bottom. Just something cute, kind of like if it was like a hot cocoa bar or a coffee bar here. I went with hot cocoa since it's Christmas and gingerbread men. I thought that would be really cute and festive. And I thought the white vinyl would really pop against that red plate. So I weeded it, added a little transfer paper here, and we are going to simply add this design to it. I'm so glad that I picked up this plate. I think it's so festive, and it made the perfect sign because it's nice and tall and it's going to look really cute here. So here it is. It says hot cocoa served here, and then I just did 2 silhouettes of gingerbread men to bring the gingerbread men into this project a little bit. And I just added that right here at the top above the giant snowflake on the plate. And I think this looks so cute. I'm going to display this on one of those acrylic plate holders from Amazon as well. Isn't this so pretty? I really love that. I put this here up against the back next to the gingerbread man that we have hanging on the wall, kind of working left to right across this shelf here at the bottom. But I think it's perfect now. I think it makes a great sign. What do you guys think about this one? This is what my shelf looks like so far. It's filling up nicely down here for my coffee bar. The next item I found at the Target Dollar Spot is a little gingerbread house mug. I think it's so cute. I thought we could make it look like a faux cup of hot cocoa instead of actually using it as a mug. So I'm going to fill it up with some foam to basically fill that all up so I won't have to use quite as much of my faux whipped cream. Now, in the past, I've used these foam cones from the Dollar Tree and just cut them in half and they fill up coffee mugs fine. But as you can see, this coffee mug from the Target Dollar Spot is rather small. So it was too big when I did this, but I was still able to make it work. I just kind of cut it in half. Normally I can just pop it in there and it fills the whole thing up, which is why I use the foam cone, but we're just going to have to piece it together. So I'm just going to cut it into like little chunks here that I can kind of piece together and then make the other piece smaller so it will fit in the top. So kind of just went in and cut them in half. I can have a little block for the bottom and then that smaller block there for the top. So now it fits. For faux whipped cream, we're going to use some of this caulk mastic from the Dollar Tree. And I had some older from other projects here. And it's not quite as white as you can see, but I thought it would be good to get us started. I basically had lots of like half empty containers of these. I like to use these for whipped cream. I think they work really well for that. I don't really like the color of it. So this maybe has gotten a little bit old, but it was still soft enough to be able to work with. Just trying to fill it up. I want like the whipped cream to go over the top of it to look like some hot cocoa covered with some whipped cream here on the top. So again, just using the end of some of these bottles to try to fill that up all the way. And then my last bottle was a little bit fresher and it had more of the white in there, not that off-white color. And so it definitely made it look more like whipped cream. And I just kind of swirl that around, filling up the entire thing and doing a faux hot cocoa. I always love to do like a faux drink or something like that for a coffee bar or a tier tray. I think it's just really fun to do. But again, I really had to make it work, but I think that looks good. Then to decorate it, I'm going to use some of the little tiny candy canes that I got from Temu. And I'm going to use those almost like little candy sprinkles here all over the top of the hot cocoa, like that. I think that looks really cute. And we're going to add that to this shelf of the coffee bar. I love this mug from the Target Dollar Spot. I think it's so whimsical and cute. They had so many great gingerbread items at the Target Dollar Spot this year. I tried not to lose my mind. But they're going fast for sure. Have you been at your Target Dollar Spot lately? Does yours still have a lot of gingerbread items or is it picked over kind of like mine is at this point? Now, the next item is also from Target. It is gingerbread mugs that you stack together. One is a gingerbread head and one is the body. Super cute. I got this at the Target Dollar Spot a different year, but I think they had them again this year. I think I saw them again. And I'm just going to display them stacked because it kind of makes the gingerbread man body. And super cute. Anytime I can use coffee mugs on my coffee bar, just makes sense. I didn't put anything in these, so if somebody wants to use these for hot cocoa, they totally can, as long as they put them back on the shelf. And this is the bottom shelf of my coffee bar. I think it looks really whimsical. Now, underneath that, I like to hang Christmas mugs. So I have this Santa mug that I got at the Target Dollar Spot. I DIY'd this Santa mug using some vinyl and a red mug from Dollar Tree, which is great. It looks like Ray Dunn, but it's not. And then I also have another little Santa mug. I think I got this one at Target as well. Super cute. I like how the hat is also like the handle of this one. But some classic Santas. And I'm going to hang these on hooks underneath that shelf that we just decorated to finish off the coffee bar. I've done the gingerbread theme. This is the third time on my channel with gingerbread on the coffee bar, but I love it, so I had to do it again. So again, I did have to use some thrifted items, some items from Ross, some things from Temu, but I pieced it all together. Down here, I was able to find some things from the Dollar Tree, the Target Dollar Spot, and I think that little gingerbread tray from Ross was really cute too. I love the icicle droppings that look like frosting, and of course my Santa mugs down here at the bottom, right above my coffee makers. For the next DIY, I wanted to make a Christmas Carol candle. So I'm going to use one of these glass vases from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to simply remove the tag from the bottom and cover it with a Christmas carol. I found a link that has like free printables of Christmas carols, and they have them on this aged paper background, which is great. So I chose Amazing Grace. There's lots of them on there if you want to choose a different song. And I will include the link to that website down in the description of today's video. I needed to make it wide enough to cover the entire vase. So I am going to have to trim some of it off because I needed to make it wide. So I printed it as wide as my printer would go. It doesn't print borderless, but almost 11 inches. And then to attach it, I'm going to use some spray adhesive. You could also use Mod Podge on the outside of your vase to cover this, but I definitely wanted to attach it and kind of make it one piece with this, and then we can light it up with a fun candle for Christmas. I've had this idea for a while, and I'm so glad that I created it. I think it's so cute. I love the song on here. Amazing Grace is probably my favorite song. I love the song. So beautiful. And it's going to make me smile. Now, the great thing about the spray adhesive is it is repositionable. If you get it on there and it's not quite right, you can kind of lift it, put it back down, try to line everything up. And then I just kind of rub the outside of it with a dry paper towel to make sure I don't have any bubbling. And I think that that will dry nicely. Now, I wanted to add some bells to it. I thought that would be fun. I found these bells on Amazon, and I will include a link to these in the description of today's video. Aren't they so cute? It's a box full of bells, and I love the size on these. I was thinking one, but then I thought, I think two would be really cute to hang on the front of this candle, this Christmas candle. So yeah, I think that's going to work. Let's go ahead and use two of those. And then I'm going to simply wrap it with some twine and use the twine to tie the bells on. So easy. I just wrap it around about 3 times and then tie it off. And then I'm going to use the ends of it to tie the actual bells on. Instead of using the metal clips that were on there, I'm just going to use the twine to tie them. So that will make it super easy. The brassy finish of these is perfect, and I love the combination of the bells with the song here with the sheet music. Isn't that so cute? I really love how this is looking. And then we are going to add a candle. I didn't have a candle quite tall enough, so I'm going to boost mine up with one of these little glass candle holders from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to put it in there upside down and use a Dollar Tree candle in the color ivory here so you can see the candle from the top of it when you light it up, and it will light up the sheet music. Isn't that so pretty? I love how this turned out. This is what it looks like during the day, and I will also show you what it looks like at night. So fun, and I love the fact that you could customize it. If you wanted to make a set of these with different songs, that would be really pretty as well. But anything that, like screams Christmas to you, Amazing Grace is just such a beautiful song. I love this. It was always a favorite lullaby for my son when he was little. It's not necessarily a Christmas song, but you can use it for a Christmas song, so that's what we're going to use. Isn't that so fun? I love that idea. Now, this DIY is going to be so easy. I picked up an 8x10 frame at the Dollar Tree that's a little oversized because it is matted. And I thought that would be the perfect size to make some Christmas art using a gift box from the Dollar Tree. They have some beautiful designs, so this is such a quick, easy way to make some art for your house, and it's so inexpensive. Now, this is the frame. I'm just going to go ahead and take it apart. The reason I chose this one is because it had the mat and it was going to make it the perfect size for a gift box. These are the gift boxes that I chose, the little Christmas trees. I love that design. I think it's really pretty, and it says Merry Christmas. But I wanted a little gold shine for my frame, and it was like a dark wood look. So I just took some gold metallic spray paint and simply spray painted it. Really easy to get that shimmer. I love the gold and red. We're going to be using a lot of gold and red in today's DIYs. I love that for Christmas. Now for the frame itself, I don't need the mat or the paper or anything like that. I do want to use the glass, and these are the gift boxes. Again, they had so many fun prints. They had snowmen, they had gingerbread men, they had all kinds of stuff, but I really loved these little Christmas trees, and it says Merry Christmas in gold. It is the same exact width as the size frame, as you can see, by laying the glass on top. I'm going to use a pen to kind of mark out where I need to cut the top of it. As you can see, I fit in almost the entire image. I want to make sure that you can read it. So I cut off the very tip of the top of the Christmas tree. And then I'm going to kind of unfold the sides of the box and trim those off as well. Items like this from the Dollar Tree, gift bags, boxes, and stuff like that, you can make some really pretty Christmas decor with. So I just cut off all of the sides and the bottom. And instead of putting this under the glass, you could do that if you wanted. I wanted mine to look like a canvas, like a wall art. So I'm going to glue on top of it. I've used this technique a million times. I always love how it turns out. I just used some matte Mod Podge and went all over. I did a pretty heavy coat because this gift box material, the cardboard, is kind of heavy, right? And I just laid that right on the top, and then I smoothed it out with a dry paper towel. I'm trying to make sure I don't have any bubbles at all. And I did get it on there a little crooked, so a sanding sponge can get any excess paper off the side so it'll fit in the frame perfectly. And then we're going to seal the top of it. This step is really important because it's going to give you those brush strokes. And so I'm going side to side with some Mod Podge. I let that dry, and then I'm going to go over it one more time. Now I am using the matte finish Mod Podge, so that's kind of the look I wanted for this one. But if you want yours to be glossy, you could just switch that up. 2 coats should be perfect to seal it. It gives it a wonderful texture. And now we can add this to our frame that we painted gold. It turned out great. I'm just going to add this like this, and then I'm going to put the back on the frame. It has a stand or a hanger, so you can use it either way. I think I'm going to use mine as a stand, which is great for this size. And look how beautiful that piece of art is, just using a gift box from the Dollar Tree. I love that idea. Here's a little close up. You can see that texture on there from the Mod Podge, which gives it that canvas art look. And everything fits so nicely inside this frame, including the entire word there. At the bottom, the Merry Christmas. So easy and a great last minute Christmas Dollar Tree DIY. For the next DIY, we're going to do a tier tray. I'm going to do this 2-tier tray, and I'm going to do this for my kitchen. Now, I wanted to use some of those red Santa scarves to wrap around both tiers. Instead of doing like a pennant or a garland, I thought these would look really cozy. I can like make it look really furry, and it would provide a good dose of red to this white tray and look really festive for Christmas. Now, one of the scarves was long enough to go around my top tier like that. I just cut the little pom-poms off the end of the scarf. That one was perfect. So the second one will not be long enough to go all the way around the bottom tier, but I have a scrap piece from another DIY that I can use, so I think it will work out perfectly. I'm just going to kind of piece that together. So I am going to simply cut off the ends of this, the tags and anything like that. I'm just leaving the scarf completely intact. So it will be large and cushy and kind of wrap around those tiers. And this should cover at least 3 sides of my tier tray. So then I will be able to do the third side with this extra piece that I had. And I'm going to go ahead and glue the 2 pieces together just by gluing one on the inside of the other. And I realized that my tier tray is too big, so I really can't show you with this camera how I'm going to attach them. So I will show you with my other camera setup. So I went ahead and put hot glue on the inside, laid this one in to try to make them seamless, but of course no sew. And I was able to get them all together in one piece. And that seam will be on the back, so I don't think you'll be able to see it anyway. And we can go ahead and start wrapping this tier tray. I found so many cute items at the Target dollar spot for this tier tray that are just adorable. So I just tacked it on with some hot glue there on one corner and simply wrapped that around, and it just made it look so festive. I love all this fur. I'm going to overlap it here on the back with some hot glue, and I have so much spray paint on my hand. I really need to start wearing gloves when I spray paint because I always get it all over my hands. So that is how the top tier turned out. Let's do the same thing here for the bottom. I'm going to start here with my, extra piece that I added on the back. So we'll be kind of hidden back there. And then wrap this all the way around. If you wanted to just do one tier, I think it would look cute too. And this would look cute if you had a round tier tray, whatever you have for sure. It really gave a little Christmas presents to the tier tray without even anything being added to it. And that's so cute. I love that idea. And so this is what it looks like at this point. And then I found this adorable gingerbread bow at Walmart. It was a couple of dollars, I believe, and it was so cute. I thought it would be perfect for a tier tray decor. It is a gingerbread man bow. Isn't that adorable? I absolutely loved it, and I thought it would be so cute here on the front of my tier tray. So I'm going to add some hot glue to the back and glue it to that scarf material that we added on there, making sure that that is kind of tacked down too with the hot glue so everything will stay in place, and such a fun decor piece. It's a great start to this gingerbread man tier tray. The first item that we have for it are these measuring cups that I got at the Target Dollar Spot this year. They were $5, and I love that because this is going in my kitchen. I have 1 cup, I have a half cup. Isn't this so cute? I love it. Even the hat is a measuring cup. So they're functional and adorable. This is how they look. I love the dollar spot at Target for gingerbread man decor. It's the very best. He's nice and tall, so I'm going to add him to the top there in the back. The next thing I also found from the Target dollar spot, it was $5 for these 5 pieces. They were in with the toys, and it said play decor. And I said, no, this goes on a tier tray. What are you guys thinking? So I'm going to use the gingerbread house and the gingerbread man for my tier tray. They used to sell tier tray starter kits there, but now they're doing toys. But you know what? I'll just buy toys. And we're going to add those to the top tier too. The next item is also from the Target dollar spot. This was $3. It's one of the gingerbread men that have the weighted feet that you can make stand on their own like that. And I think it's going to be the perfect size. He's a little tall though, so I'm going to put him behind the gingerbread house so you'll be able to see both him and the gingerbread house. And I think that looks really cute. Then I take some Dollar Tree faux snow and I sprinkle that all of the way around for a little winter scene there on the top. And then I think it's pretty full. I think just one more piece to finish it off. This is an ornament from the Target dollar spot. It's only $1 of a little peppermint candy plush. So cute. I just removed the ornament hanger and the tag. And I think this is going to be great with the theme for gingerbread men. I'm going to sit it right there in the front. It doesn't really block anything. And now we can start moving on to the bottom tier. Isn't that so cute so far? Thank you, Target dollar spot, for all of these great gingerbread items. Now, I wanted to do a snow blanket for the bottom, and all I could find was this furry white fabric at the Dollar Tree, but I think this will work. I measured the bottom of my tier tray, and I am just going to cut this down to size to make a little snow blanket for the bottom. And I do have a fun idea to kind of boost some stuff up with this too. So I just cut the right length, and then I'm going to do the right width. And I'll show you how I cut this to go around the pole in my tier tray. I'm going to cut it just like you would a tablecloth that has a pole, like an outdoor tablecloth, where you just fold it in half and cut it halfway. And then I folded it in quarters and cut a little circle here for the middle to go around the pole. Just like that, I think that will work. It's like a white plush material, so I think it will be a good snow blanket. And I just lay this down where I can have that seam there be in the very back. Very cute. It really goes well with all of that red fur on the outside of my tier. And then I found this great little gingerbread house cookie jar, also at the Target dollar spot. It was $5. It's a small cookie jar, so it should fit well here, even on the bottom tier of my tier tray. And it's so cute. I love it. The next item was from the Target dollar spot. Are these little measuring spoons. Look at these, especially for the kitchen. I've got the measuring cups, so now I have the measuring spoons as well. Look how cute they are. I absolutely love them. Now, I thought you weren't going to be able to see them very well on the bottom tier, and so I'm also going to use some polyfill underneath our little snow blanket to make like a little snowy hill here in front of the gingerbread house. So we'll boost them up a little bit so you'll be able to see them better because they're so cute. I want you to be able to see them. I'm going to spread them out like that where you can see all of the little measuring spoons. I love that. The next item are little gingerbread house salt and pepper shakers. I picked these up at Ross. They were $5 and I thought they were so sweet. I love that. They're pretty simple. Just the white frosting and a little touches of red. And see, they're little salt and pepper shakers. I thought those would be so cute in the kitchen too. We're going to add these right here in front. I love all the kitchen items. The next item is also from the Target Dollar Spot, another cookie jar. This one says Gingerbread Bakery. I love it, and it's a perfect size here for the bottom of the tier tray for the other side. And then I found a little plush gingerbread man. This was also from the Target Dollar Spot. These are only $1. And I'm going to lean him up against that little gingerbread bakery cookie jar. So cute. This little gingerbread cookie is actually an ornament from Walmart, but it looks just like a gingerbread cookie. And it also looks like a little gingerbread house. So I just cut the ornament hanger off of mine. And I'm going to add this as a little cookie here to my tier tray. It's glittery too, which is really fun. And then this is a candy cane ornament from Target Dollar Spot for $1. Again, I just removed the tag, the hanger, and I thought this would be really cute filler for the bottom tier. Right here in front, I'm going to put it right there in front of some of my gingerbread houses to finish off this tier. So many fun finds, mostly from Target Dollar Spot on this tier tray, but I think it's going to be perfect for my kitchen for Christmas. That little bow from Walmart is adorable, but so many fun finds. Aren't these items so cute? I love it, and it was such an easy tier tray to put together for Christmas. So festive with all of that red fur, I think, don't you think? Here's a little close-up view of how our tier tray turned out. It was really fun to make, and I really hope you enjoyed these gingerbread finds today. Target Dollar Spot is definitely my go-to place for gingerbread stuff. For this DIY, I picked up a glass vase from the Dollar Tree and a glass jar. I wanted to put them together to try to make it look like an old-fashioned candle lantern for Christmas. Now, this is the jar I got. I got it on clearance at Dollar Tree for only 75 cents because I think it was missing the lid. I've used these before for DIY, so I recognize that, but I thought it was a great deal. I think I'm going to have it upside down to make it easier to glue the vase onto the top. And then I'm going to use one of the Dollar Tree shower curtain rings. I'm just going to split it in half, use the piece that doesn't have the tab sticking out, and put a handle on the side of our little lantern. Since I'm gluing onto glass, I wanted to use a really strong glue, so I'm using Gorilla Glue Clear Grip. It's very similar to E6000, something very strong. And I'm going to glue that on. This has that little area there at the bottom. I thought that would be an easy place to glue it to, and then glued this on with that. I am going to have to set that aside so it will dry. If you had a smaller coffee cup or something like that, you could use that too. But I think this is going to be perfect for scale. And these little lanterns always have handles on them like that. Something that you can carry it with, right? I'm going to spray paint the entire thing with some gold metallic spray paint. I'm going to start right here at the bottom to make sure I get in all of those areas. And I'm also going to go ahead and spray the handle inside and outside. And then I can sit that down and just spray paint the rest of it. Now, I wasn't sure how spray paint and glass was going to work on this with the metallic, but it actually turned out pretty cute. This is what it looks like after it's set up to dry. And then we're going to add the little fluted vase here on the top. I think that looks perfect. It looks just like the top of a little candle lantern. It does have a tag here on the bottom, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. And we're going to glue that on. Again, I'm doing like a glass to glass, so I want to do something really strong to bond that together. And then we're also going to decorate this little DIY for Christmas. I'm using the Gorilla Glue Clear Grip here for that glue as well. I'm going to put that around the edges where it really comes into contact, but I'm also going to use a little hot glue to get us started so I don't have to wait for that to dry before I can start decorating things. Now, to decorate around it, I wanted to do like a little candle ring, something that wouldn't interfere with anything. So I'm just going to use one of those little garland ties from the Dollar Tree. You could also use the regular garland. It's wired too. And I'm going to simply wrap that around, kind of linking it on itself. Where you double it up, it does make it a little bit thicker. So I think I'll have that towards the front of how I want to display it like that. And then to decorate it, I'm going to add some pops of red with some of the little red berries from the Dollar Tree. I'm just using some pet nail clippers. Those work great for wire cutters. And I am cutting those down and gluing them on individually. I think 3 is going to be enough. I just kind of stagger those out and glue those into that greenery garland. Super cute. And then I thought some jingle bells would be fun. So I have some little gold jingle bells from the Dollar Tree. Thought that would go nicely with the gold on the base. And I'm going to glue 3 of those on as well, about halfway in between each berry. That way I have a little pop of gold and a little pop of red there all the way around. Super festive and cute. Now for the candle, I have these. They're kind of red, but they weren't quite red enough. So I think I'm going to switch it up with a battery operated candle. I found these at Dollar Tree and they look kind of old and cool, right? And so I'm going to add that too, a little votive candle, turning that on, and it's easy enough to dump that out to turn it on and off so I can still get to it. But this is how it turned out, my old fashioned candle lantern Christmas DIY. I think that battery operated candle with the little drips in there looks really cute and vintage as well. And just using a clearance glass jar that I got at Dollar Tree. That is a product they normally carry. And again, the shower curtain ring there for the handle, it worked out well. It's not super strong, like I wouldn't actually use it to pick it up, but it adds a great decorative touch. And this is what it looks like lit up at night. I think it's so festive and fun. What do you guys think about this one? A fun way to make something with a vintage feel for your Christmas decor. This DIY is going to be really easy. I'm going to show you how you can make some Christmas wall art using a gift bag. So I got a large 16 by 20 gold frame from the Dollar Tree. I love the fact that it's already gold, so I don't have to paint it or anything. And then I found a great gift bag from the Dollar Tree. Just like with the gift boxes, they have so many beautiful designs. And I found a great winter scene that I thought would look really pretty with this. We're going to do a little bit different technique because it is going to be glossy. But I do want it to look like a Christmas art canvas, not necessarily under the frame. I want it to be on top of the frame as well. Now the bag is larger than I need for the image, but I kind of did that on purpose so I can cut the handle and everything off of it. And I got like the important part of the image. I can just cut off the very top of it here. And I just simply sketched that out with an ink pen on the front of the gift bag. Now I really love the fact that it's iridescent. The gold is all metallic and really shines. So we're going to go with that. We're going to do kind of a shiny Christmas art piece with this gift bag. They had so many pretty ones too. They had entire aisles of them at my Dollar Tree. And so they can be a great crafting material as well. I'm going to simply clean my glass and a Mod Podge to attach this to the front. Now, if you wanted something that you could switch out of your frame, you could go under the glass like a traditional art piece. I really like the canvas look better, so that's why I like to go on top of the glass. Once I got it covered with Mod Podge, I'm going to simply lay my gift bag on top. It's a thick foil glossy paper, but it attached pretty well. And then I'm going to go over the top of it with a dry paper towel, smoothing it out, making sure I don't have any air bubbles. Working quickly, I don't want my Mod Podge to set up before that starts to seal. Now you don't have to seal it since it's already glossy and shiny, but I decided to. But I don't want to take away from the glossy foil. So instead of using matte finish, I'm using the gloss finish Mod Podge. Basically because I like the brush strokes. I think that looks really cool. And so I'm going to go over that with a couple of coats. Sealing that, it's probably going to make it more durable as well for some wall art since we're not going to be using any glass on top of it. I went over it with a second coat. It definitely didn't take away from the gloss foil, and I really love how this turned out. I did have a little bit of excess paper sticking out here on the edge, so I just kind of sanded that with a sanding sponge to make sure it's still going to fit nicely inside my frame. And how beautiful is this image? I love the fact that the 16 by 20 frame was already gold. I didn't have to do anything to it. And it's a nice large size, so you can get one of these large gift bags from the Dollar Tree to decorate yours as well. I put the back on it. It has a hanger on the back. It's pretty large, so I can hang that on the wall for some really simple Christmas decor. Great for last minute crafting or if you don't have a lot of time. I love that there's a little cardinal on there. We have a little red Christmas barn in the background and some cute little deer here in front. And it definitely shimmers. It's going to look great with Christmas lights for Christmas. Isn't that so cute? It was so easy to make. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. So many gingerbread men and fun festive Christmas DIY inspiration for you. Let me know your favorites down in the comments below, or just come say hello. This is a QR code. If you would like to scan it with your phone, you can buy me a coffee this Christmas, and enjoy the final reveal.
Jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bell, a sound that's oh so dear. Frosty the snowman is all around town. Watch out for reindeers are falling down. We stay up waiting for Santa tonight. He climbs down the chimney at the speed of light, while we're dancing around the Christmas tree, hugging and kissing just you and me. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as they walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day. Oh, a Merry Christmas Day. Oh, we're chasing snowflakes as they're falling down, and follow Rudolph all across the town. Later we meet under the mistletoe, while Santa's busy saying ho ho ho. We're feeling jolly, eating Christmas cake, and then we go skating on the frozen lake, saying hi to every friendly face, and later we warm up by the fireplace. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as they walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day. Merry Christmas Day. A Merry Christmas Day. Oh, yeah. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as we walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day. Yeah, a Merry Christmas Day. Dancing around the Christmas tree, wishing all a Merry Christmas. Dancing around the Christmas tree, wishing all a Merry Christmas. Dancing around the Christmas tree, wishing all a Merry Christmas Day.
Merry Christmas, baby. Reindeer's coming out to play. Santa Claus is packing the presents, making sure you've been behaving okay. Merry Christmas, honey. Yeah. The snowman's dusting off his hat, putting to show for everybody, to give them a smile that lasts another year. There's something that happens when sleigh bells are ringing, when December ends, when the children are singing, yeah. It's Merry Christmas, baby. Ooh, yeah. There's room at the table for big and for small. All the fire is popping, the chestnuts are cracking, yeah. Merry Christmas, baby. Merry Christmas, baby. The snow is laying 2 feet deep. Now wish upon a falling star, so all your secret dreams can come true. There's something that happens when sleigh bells are ringing, when December ends, when the children are singing, yeah. It's Merry Christmas, baby. Ooh, yeah. There's room at the table for big and for small. All the fire is popping, the chestnuts are cracking, yeah. Merry Christmas, baby. There's something that happens when something that happens when December ends, when December ends, yeah, yeah. Oh, it's Merry Christmas, baby. Merry Christmas, baby. It's Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. It's Merry Christmas, baby. Yeah. It's Merry Christmas, baby.
First flake of snow is set to fall today. It comes to say that Christmas is on its merry way. And for every single child, there's a gift on Santa's sleigh. The first flake of snow is said to fall today. The first snow this winter is promised for this day. It brings a hope of peace, both near and far away. It says we can live together and that we can find a way. The first snow this Christmas is promised for this day. First snow of Christmas.
Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of today's Crafty Christmas Marathon. I had so much fun making these DIYs and sharing them with you. Now, I'd also like to thank my YouTube members for supporting my channel. Thank you to Melinda Elizabeth, Jamie Job, Janae Farrington, Pamelia Wren, Donna Schreiner, I Am Mojo Jojo, Marin Christensen, Adrian Brolt, Debbie Middleton, Red Mama, Pal Puppy Life, Renee Albanese, Jenny, Debbie Austin, James Osborne, and Lizette Thomas. I really appreciate each and every one of you. If you would like to join the membership too, we would love to have you. Just join on your phone or computer next to today's video. Would you like even more crafting inspiration for Christmas? I've got you covered. Be sure to check out one of these DIY videos right here. And until next time, happy crafting for Christmas.